Mike. Check. Check for Mike. Check. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody, wherever you are, however you may be watching. Thanks for making us part of your day. Good guesses on the hats this morning. Mine is looking shiny as shit, and I like that. I wouldn't bet on the Giants hat showing up anytime soon. I don't feel like now is a great time to be a proud Giants fan for a lot of reasons. So there we go. Sorry about Friday. I can give you an update there. I think what we determined is I had some new medicine, took it on an empty stomach. So about halfway through, however long that lasted, I text Jen and I was like, I feel really, really dizzy. And if I just abandon the stream right in the middle, that's what happened. And I was sitting there not feeling great. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, I'm going to throw up. I didn't feel like doing that live. I don't know if that's a violation or not. So I just ran to the bathroom and threw up a bunch. And then I don't know what Jen said, but thank you guys for that. By 5 p.m., I was good. I threw up one other time and then I was good. So I made sure not to take the medication this morning. I'll wait till I eat and I'll take it in the afternoon. Thank you for having my back there. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning. Well, what was kind of funny, I mean, not funny, but kind of funny, is like I remember you saying that you weren't feeling well and you're dizzy, and so I wasn't exactly watching the screen. And so I wasn't sure if you left or if you fainted. I wasn't sure.
Oh, you didn't hear? I think I said I'll be right back. I'm gonna let this video play. Jen, you know what this is about, or something like that.
I was listening, but not I listened to a bunch of stuff. I'm multitasking, so it's I listened, but I wasn't sure if you just fell over in your chair. So
yeah, no, I didn't fall over. I just die. But I am the boy who lived. I made it through this weekend.
The boy that.
Yeah. I think it's fair to compare me to Harry Potter. I think we're similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Don't you?
How? No, explain. How do you think you are like Harry Potter?
I don't know. I just felt like saying it. Just like a hero. Am I sure I'm not pregnant? No. I've been taking birth control though, so hopefully it doesn't make me sick. That's actually, I think, might have been what made me sick.
Yeah, the rest of you took on it. Stomach with birth control. So, got it.
Shows the scar. I do have a scar in my eyebrow. It's this eyebrow. See that eyebrow right there? Voldemort hit me in the eyebrow, and I got a big, deep one right there. That works. No, do you explain it, Zach? Thank you. I appreciate you guys. TikTok, you guys are great this morning. Thanks for supporting me, and welcome to everybody over on TikTok. It's good to. This might be a record. Most days in a row. Jake, how's deep? Not that deep. All right, Jen, tell us about your dating life this weekend.
So I didn't have plans originally, and then I got plans. I went out last night, actually.
The old face sitter finally talked you into it, huh?
No, he has been unmatched. So
he's doing so well.
I was only letting him stay so that we could get the one comment and then just move on from there. So.
Illusion said you play it cool till the last second. Impressive. Thank you. I did play. You know what? Maybe not. I'm giving myself too much credit. It hit me all of a sudden. I went basically as soon as it hit me.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's like I said. I didn't say if you had left, by choice or if you were.
No, you were telling us about your dates.
No, I'm going back to that. So yeah,
okay.
Sorry. Yeah, so no, I just met someone. We matched somewhere late on Saturday night, and
what do you mean match somewhere? You matched on Tinder?
On a site, I'm on more than just Tinder.
Oh, so you don't want to say which one it was?
No, it wasn't. So I didn't. Ironically, we had matched on Tinder, but he didn't message me. Didn't message me from Tinder.
Why don't you want to say which app it was on?
Just because I just don't. I don't know. I'm just being difficult and I don't want to.
Is it one that like kind of a niche?
It's one of the ones people know.
Oh, okay. All right. I wasn't sure if you were on like Farmers Only or.
No.
It's probably one called DTF, right? There's got to be an app called DTF.
Christian Mingle.
Oh yeah, they branded it to Christian Mingle. I remember now.
Yeah. So yeah. So no, I had a good time. We went and we had like some appetizers and we went and he's in real estate and we actually went and looked like at a house for fun. Like
what did you think about that? Did you like that?
I mean, actually, it was fun. I hadn't done that before.
Did you go tour the house?
Yeah, it was like this bougie house in a nice area near where I live.
Do they let you use like the couch or the fridge or
no?
Didn't use any of that. Okay. Sounds like a serial killer a little bit. To be honest. He's like, let me take you to some abandoned houses.
Well, I mean, I guess it would be sketchy if like you took me to like a trap house or something, but like
but they were nice.
A multi-million-dollar house, I think is all right. But yeah, no, it was cool. So we did that, and then we went and got some dessert.
What'd you have for dessert? We went apps and dessert, no dinner.
I mean, I don't eat a ton of food, so so it worked.
What do we have for apps?
The comments crack me up about like, oh, red flag, red flag. You haven't watched enough Dateline, dude. You guys are ridiculous.
What the fuck do you think is going to happen in the chat when you start talking about your dating life? This is. I feel like this one's on you. Yeah.
I think it's funny that like, in some ways, I feel like some people kind of infantilize women or me when this topic comes up, which I find ironic, but whatever. But yeah, so yeah, we did that, and then
good point by Amy though. Any house can be a trap house if he has the keys. That's a good point.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, we like this guy. This is new. That's what we're seeing here in real time. I'm with you, Illusion. She's I like this.
I mean, yeah, we had a good time. So.
Oh man, we're gonna lose our stories. All right, when's the next one?
Tonight.
Tonight.
Yeah.
When was the second one?
I have a busy week. So I've got the baseball game tonight.
Oh, you're going with that's with him?
This is with someone else. Like this, I just met this person Saturday. We connected on Saturday night, like practically Sunday morning. So
stop reading the comments. I know exactly what you're doing right now.
I'm browsing. I'm browsing.
She sounds so sweet, huh? This is great.
Stop it. You guys are stupid. Keep going. So yeah, baseball game tonight. I got coffee tomorrow. Coffee date tomorrow. Possibly a drinks on Wednesday, but I've got a full week so far.
I'm exhausted by that already.
To be honest, I am too. I'm going from not doing shit to playing
running through
every day.
Yeah.
It's tiring.
I mean, you don't have that many years left on this planet. You're
probably so stupid with
3/4 of the way through your life. So it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Get these last 25 years in. Yeah, do that math backwards. You do the math backwards. You're 75 now.
So I got to have a run-in with old Booger Bobby last night.
You did? How's he doing? I've missed him.
Well, he's going to be holding a long live here soon.
No.
To call
Am I
going
to get dragged in on that one too?
Probably.
Good.
So he's
still mad at me for letting Crow and Arrow make my merch for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So he's going to be. So he's going to be having a live here soon, and because he was recording the live that he was in, and sounds like I'm going to be as part of whatever lawsuit or information he's going to show. And
those lawsuits are going to be, that's going to be good. Jamar says Wingardium Leviosa onto my face. Thank you, Jamar.
So that
took two pieces of the stories and put them together. That's well done. All right. Well, that's going to
So
be incredible. He'll probably get hired to run 60 Minutes by Barry Weiss. That'll be good.
yeah, yeah. So he was on a live last night, and like I've seen him in a handful of lives recently, and the comments just they don't fuck with him. And so like whenever he
You
goes,
don't
somewhere,
say. People don't like him? That's crazy.
I know that's hard to believe and all, but yeah, people aren't a fan. And so like the comments just like whenever he's somewhere, they just like he shouldn't be here. Like he's all so yeah, so he got all upset. And did I tell you, do you know what his username is now?
Is it handsome something or no? That was before he was handsome. It's something
Yeah, that's
vaguely like jack offy, right?
C, yeah. C man. No, I'm not kidding. Like capital C
capital C
dash man.
All right. Well.
So, I mean that.
Well,
Yeah. So
hope a bunch of people come by his live. Right.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing because he was going up and
is his live being held in a tube sock by chance?
But yeah. So there's gonna be that at some point in time. But he was upset that someone on the left didn't speak about the border exactly right. So
Jesus Christ, dude. This fucking guy. He's got some big feelings. I'm excited for him to be back. It's been too quiet over there. Nobody said. I did see Admir posted. I don't know what's going on with that drama, but there's now cease and desist letters. Did you see it? I think Janae sent that other awful person a cease and desist letter, and it's clearly just like made from Chat GPT. It's like it uses like just first names. It doesn't even. It's incredible. So
that
good.
sounds very, very legally binding and for sure will work. So.
It had about 30 views when I saw it when Admir put it up, and I was glad I got to see it.
Yeah, the whole thing, the TikTok drama and all coming back. I mean, we're getting some reruns. I mean, I don't think we've had like the Janae beef or any Bobby beef for a while.
Maybe they could team up. C-Man Fleshlight. That's horrific. All the dates are just Jeff in different outfits. Yes.
So there's that, and then Liam, I was out in the TikTok streets last night after my date. So
Admir's white knighting in Stacy's live. Ooh, bet that's incredible. We check in on Admir real quick. Let's see. Let's see what he's doing. We actually kind of have a long show today, but let's see what he's doing anyways. I thought he wasn't coming back for 3 years. What happened to that?
Gay.
I don't know. That was the one that clicked up. All right. I don't know if I can find him. Whatever account he's on, I must not follow. So never mind. We won't do that.
Let me see if I can.
Let's not worry about it. Nobody gives a shit about that.
All right. Well, we can.
All right. Do your thing.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. It's Monday and Jay's not barfy today, so we should be able to make it through the whole show. So
far.
Nighthawk sent a Venmo late on Friday, but saying for you to get better. So I want to acknowledge that Venmo.
Thank you. So, I did get better.
I did feel like, so I have a friend that like I know in actual real life that listens to the show, and I talked to them or saw them this weekend, and they asked about it. Like they were just listening, and all of a sudden, like it got quiet and weird, so they were concerned about you.
But. Yeah, my mom texted me. I didn't even know she watched this anymore. So that was good to know that people were watching from my life.
Yeah, so
got to stop talking shit about my mom, I guess.
Maybe that'd probably be a good idea. All right, well, like I said, welcome everybody. We're back. We do the show each day, Monday through Friday, from 9:30 to 1 Pacific time. We've got a gift goal we need to hit each day so we can keep doing this, to keep the lights on. So Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats all go towards knocking out that gift goal. We prefer the pay links over Super Chats, but anything you send is appreciated. So if we could knock out that gift goal, would be sweet. So like I said, pay links we prefer because they take less from us. If you're not a subscriber or a member, or if you're watching, you should become one. We do members only events. Our next one will be next Wednesday. We've got the channel now, so people have been putting movie recommendations. And do you have an idea of what we want to watch, or we're just don't?
No, in all honesty, I've been reading the chat. I didn't listen to a word you said, but I assume you're talking about the movie night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
All right, so we'll have a movie night or something that we watch in Discord together, and occasionally respond to weirdos that DM me on dating apps. So if you guys want to join us for that, become a member wherever you're watching. If you guys disagree with our TV and would like to come up and have a conversation, you can do so by sending me a message on Discord. My Discord username is the same as the Venmo, so Jen with 2 N's, W 2 E's, the number 1. And I can bring you on. Check out the link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch, just like Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. Let's see. I didn't have a good joke going for.
Casey, I'm not sure if we're watching the game on Wednesday. We'll talk about that.
How is a microwave dinner like directing a movie? This one's not very good.
I don't know. You
cut film to vent.
That's
not very good.
No. That's not even a joke. That's Laffy Taffy said, fuck that.
Yeah, no, it was not a good one. So an invisible man marries an invisible woman.
Okay.
The kids weren't much to look at either.
That's better. I like that. Axe said overdue. Antifa do. Sorry guys, let's start off the week great. WRTP Gen Mods and Fam. Appreciate that, Ack. And James said, what is the fastest liquid on earth? Milk is pasteurized before It's pasteurized before you see it. Took me a say. I actually love that one. Save that one. Jen, more like that. All right. I put together a show today. I was going to talk about some of the Supreme Court stuff. There was a lot of it seemed like procedural stuff. It's a very slow time. And then I just changed my whole course this morning. And I just want to, we're going to spend all day today just talking about the difference between the GOP and specifically the Democratic Socialists, because the Democratic Socialists are having a moment and they're dominating the moment. Like their messaging is correct. Every time they're in a contested election, they're winning. It doesn't seem to be that the criticisms of socialism are really sticking. In fact, the more people talk about the Democratic Socialists, the more popular the Democratic Socialists are becoming. And it just reminds me that we live in America where most of the people that vote don't have a goddamn clue what's going on. Legitimately no goddamn clue. And so you're left with messaging. And for me, the messaging makes the most sense from the Democratic Socialists right now, given our period in time. And I say this now because this is me protecting myself, because I'm going to sound very glowing about the Democratic Socialists for most of the day. What if this is if history is any indicator of what will happen in the future, what I think is going to happen, because we have economic collapse, maybe not total collapse, we'll see how well we can mitigate the economic nightmare we're about to go through, and you're going to see a hard push towards progressives, and depending on how progressives handle that, they could fundamentally change the United States for a very long time. You could revitalize the middle class. You could expand social safety nets. You could claw back wealth distribution and get it back into a safer place. But unfortunately, you gotta take the money out. You have to get the money out of politics. You have to undo Citizens United, and you have to write new, very strict campaign finance laws. And you're going to have to do things like ranked choice voting. This is a good moment for the DSA, but the DSA needs a lot of time. They need 10, 15, 20 years of some sort of majority or mandate to undo this. Otherwise, we just go backwards. And the first few years are going to be every single possible thing that the American people can point to and say that this is the fault of the DSA. They're going to say this is socialism, it doesn't work. And that's so ingrained in American culture that it's going to take really, really good politicians to get us out of this. So the reason I say this is that my biggest fear is that you will have this movement from the Democratic Socialists, and they will do things like fixing or attempt to fix healthcare, pull back military spending, and expanding social safety nets, and expanding access to education, medical care, all of that stuff. And then you're going to get some you know, let's just say John Ossoff looking guy, some guy who looks like and speaks the message correctly, but that you can tell that they're slick. And I said John Ossoff looking guy, and then they come in and they take the party and they corrupt it, and suddenly after 8 years, the Democratic Socialist name is mud. That's the thing that we have to be afraid of. I do think it's fair, some of the criticism that some of these Democratic Socialist candidates are getting, not that it disqualifies them, but that it's important that we criticize them, or that we look at the things they've said in the past compared to the things that they're advocating for now, and then looking into the future, determine, like, is this a trustworthy person? And I think that that's going to have to matter a lot to us as well. If we're voting for Democratic Socialists who, for some reason, scale back their messaging when they run and say, I wouldn't do this, and this, and then they get into office and suddenly they vote for that the trust is lost. The Democratic Socialists have to be so very careful in this takeover of the party to make sure that, one, they're focusing on things that they can accomplish, messaging on the things that they can accomplish, and there's also going to have to be a lot of compromise. So it's like this weird balance of, we have a moment, we have a mandate. We also have to balance that with compromise to make sure that this doesn't become corrupted or removed from what the people want. So anyways, that's what we're going to talk about today. And then the Republican response to all of that, which is basically just like, socialism is bad. But I wanted to show this first because the Daily Show did a great job with this. This is Anthony Constantino. Anthony Constantino, Trump endorsed, running for, I believe, governor. This is who the Republicans are putting up instead of serious candidates.
Businessman and Sticker Mule CEO Anthony Constantino riding a President Donald Trump endorsement to victory.
Okay, Sticker CEO doesn't sound like a real job. Like, if you went on a date and someone said, I'm the president of bouncy balls, you'd be like, okay, sounds like we're splitting it. Got it. But who is this guy?
I'm endorsed by President Trump because I fought for him. I want to detransition America. I don't like the transgender scam at all. Just like I...
Video, son of a bitch. I'm so sorry. I'm an idiot. I was reading everything. Sorry, chat. Let me go back just a little bit. You want to just start over? You want me to shut the stream down? We just start over? Yeah, I didn't even notice how many.
No, just keep going.
The amount
Only up from here.
The amount of people who wrote the word video in the chat for a minute and a half. I'm sorry, not my best start this morning. I love you. That sucks. I'll start the video over.
Businessman and Sticker Mule CEO Anthony Constantino riding a President Donald Trump endorsement to victory.
Okay. Sticker CEO doesn't sound like a real job.
Pretend you're hearing it for the first time.
Like, if you went on a date and someone said, I'm the president of bouncy balls, you'd be like, okay, sounds like we're splitting it. Got it. But who is this guy?
I'm endorsed by President Trump because I fought for him. I want to detransition America. I don't like the transgender scam at all. Just like I don't like the...
Can somebody teach any of these Republicans to, like, have a personality? This is crazy. This is the most monotone. Do you want to detransition America? That's what if we were? What if we intonation America? What if we move that tone up and down a little bit so we're not convinced that you're trying to kill us?
Solar scam. I hate seeing these solar panels all over our farmland in upstate New York. It bothers me because they're ugly as hell.
Wow.
Republicans, everybody's trans. We have to undo that, and I think solar is annoying. That's what they're running on. Because I don't like looking at it.
Wow. It's like my uncle's Facebook came to life. But don't let all the things that Constantino hates fool you. One thing I know about him is that he likes being funny and having fun. I know this because he told us.
I like being funny. I like making people laugh. I like having fun. If you're not having fun in life, what else?
Tell your face, brother. Tell your fucking face. That there's no smile lines. I don't know that this guy can smile.
What else matters?
Why does he look like he's about to read off what my grandma left me at her will? Like, I like being funny, but today's not about me. It's about Eunice Marie Johnson, a wonderful lady. Like, the words he's saying are, I like to have fun, but the tone is saying, I hit a cat with my car and felt nothing. But here's the other reason I know he's a fun guy.
Constantino recorded a hip-hop album titled Thank You, President Trump.
I made a 10-song.
Just brace yourself. It's fucking incredible. If you love rap, if you love hip hop, if you loved Kendrick versus Drake, you are going to love Anthony Constantino.
Patriotic album to persuade all Americans to be more patriotic and to see the world as we see it.
If this shit doesn't persuade you, you're just not America. You're not for this. You got to move somewhere else. You got to go to some communist hellhole if this doesn't move you. This is Toby Keith putting a boot in your ass.
Using the power of music.
Trump, 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 Trump. Everywhere I go, they love Donald, Donald Trump. Down in Mexico, they love Donald, Donald Trump.
Sold? Are you sold? Who the fuck else are you going to vote for? Who else are you going to vote for? You have to vote for him. That's so good. Remix this with We Are Charlie Kirk.
All right, as black people, I know we had our fun, but I think we need to let rap go. It's over now. We lost it. Don't get it wrong, though. Constantino doesn't only rap about how great Donald Trump is, he also raps about how terrible Trump's nemesis is.
You dummies let a terrorist run for office in New York City. This poser Mandami, he ain't even from here. He's still a citizen in Uganda.
I like this new form of rap where you just like make sure that you never find the beat. Just whatever direction the beat is going in, go the other way. Make sure you don't accidentally sound like you have rhythm.
One of the worst, most vile countries on the planet. Whatever happens, they never forget.
Okay. This guy's got it. And by it, I mean a learning disability.
The beat was a paid actor, the liberal activist beat maker.
Also, I don't know if you heard that, but does he think Uganda did 9/11?
Yeah, a lot of people forget that it was Uganda. It's a fact that most Americans don't remember. Which is exactly why we invaded Iraq, because of Uganda.
Uganda barely got 7/11. But you know what? I want to be fair. People love to isolate a piece of a song to trash an artist. Let's give him another chance and keep listening.
I think so.
Hey, Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah.
You too.
Oh.
You caused this. We all remember the bullshit you did during COVID. That's why you lost.
This is the worst remix of Hit 'Em Up. Somebody said that. Who was that? Swiss Michael said, was that the Tupac beat Hit 'Em Up? I didn't even recognize it. Yeah. They turned to the bass all the way up and added a recorder, I think.
The primary. Air guidance, by the way, you too. You corrupt piece of shit.
Chino XL, fuck you too.
Did he just get so mad he forgot he was supposed to be rapping? Like, that's not even a song anymore. It's just a guy on the corner going, and another thing. With that level of talent, it's no wonder he's getting endorsements from the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
I am very impressed with Anthony.
Look at his face. I'm dying in his face. Somebody is behind the camera going, watch his face change
It's
here.
from the cream of the crop.
I am
Ignore
very
Rudy.
impressed with Anthony Constantino. Anthony is exactly the kind of person we need in politics. It's like
Hey, Blinken.
This is what I talk about, that people like this have to get involved in politics.
Why are you looking up? That's not where the camera is, or Giuliani. He's trying to endorse you, but you're making him look like he's a dad trying to convince a new school to take you. Like, no, you don't understand.
Why is he built like a Minecraft block? Come on.
a good boy,
It's not nice.
all right? He doesn't do well in class, but he makes the kids laugh. He didn't mean to hurt that girl. He had just never seen curly hair before.
At least the Cubans for Trump song was catchy. This is trash. Yeah, there's been better Trump rap. We are Charlie Kirk. All right. I don't know. Like we just showed, that's from the Daily Show. That's Josh Johnson, and that's Anthony Constantino. And I am convinced that Nick Shirley is also like a prop. This is Walter Masterson. German mom sent this to me. I didn't even have this on the outline. I didn't even know this happened. I was mostly checked out this weekend. And we come back to Nick Shirley allegedly doing socialism. We'll see, being trolled by Walter Masterson. And it goes exactly how you think it's going to go. This is a 20-minute video. I don't even know. We might watch the whole thing. We'll see. You guys let me know if you get bored of this. But this is like the Republican propaganda guy. This is who they're relying on, is Nick Shirley out here just repping for Polymarket. What does it say? Where did my taxes go? Jesus. Is that what it says? Where did my tax money go? I don't know, Nick. You can look that stuff up. I don't know why you guys are so like Republicans are consistently confused by questions that they could just Google. Just be like, you could Google, where did my tax money go? And it would show you how to track your tax money. You could just Google that. But he's like, what if instead of Googling it, I put it on a fucking hoodie? What if we just did that instead? Because we can make money off that. Okay, yeah, we'll put it on a hoodie instead.
Paint the graffiti off the walls, and that sounds a little like socialism. So I am happy to help Nick Shirley learn all about socialism. We're not waiting for the free market. Do some socialism with me. Nick Shirley and I are doing socialism together.
Everyone change on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Socialism!
Where is Mom Donnie? He didn't show up for these 13 people from out of state. I can't believe it. It's not a big crowd for Nick.
Nick Shirley is demonstration thing going on in Chinatown. Something about migrants selling handbags. Zoran Mamdani. This is where everyone's gathering.
We should have shirts that say, where'd my tariff money go? We know where our tariff money went. The government took it from us and then gave it to China, and then China paid us. And that way China paid the tariffs. You all know that. Don't Google that. It just happened.
Preparation of Nick Shirley showing up. So I'm going to assume he's going to pull up with his bodyguards here. MAGA's showing up because, Zoran Mamdani, anti-Semitism. Did your ancestors found America?
I would love to see like Ancestry.com if you like giving up your DNA like that.
No, I don't take the jab like you. You took the jab.
This is crazy.
I trace it back to Benjamin Rush.
I don't know this guy. Special head? I don't know who that is. Apparently he's trolling.
Sign of the Declaration of Independence. I listened to
Yes, the Regime Change book is out. I've been listening to it. It's actually incredible. It's one of the best. It's not like smoking gun. Like, I feel like MAGA people could read it and they're not going to have a problem with it, and you're going to read it and you're going to have a problem with it. But the level of inside access they got for that book is crazy. Not a ton of like huge revelations so far from what I've read.
The liberals are indoctrinating their youth to be transgender and taking them all these protest stuff and making them love Obama. If a
Thanks, Damien. By the way,
man
I
walked
missed
up
that.
to your daughter and said, I'm going to be dating
No,
you.
these people are gonna have
Would you take offense to that? Did you know that Trump said that to a 10-year-old girl? But would you take offense to that? Yeah. Do you have moral values? Do you have moral values, sir? You would let Trump say that to your daughter? How you doing?
How you doing?
Been a while. Have you had time to educate yourself?
It's interesting that they go to everywhere and they're smoking gun in every Nick Shirley, I almost said Fuentes, investigation is that somebody didn't want to talk to them. And then you put a camera in front of their face and ask them a tough question and they walk away. Isn't it interesting that everything Nick Shirley thinks is evidence of fraud is exactly what they do when they're asked a difficult question?
Medical Plaza is? What's that?
Actually, they just caught all the fraudsters, so.
He's just trying to get a gotcha moment. It's amazing what the Trump administration with the weaponizing the DOJ can do. Nick, what are we here to do today? We're going to go viral today, Nick. Isn't that right?
No, today we're actually focused on just making the community a little bit better. So
Are we making the community better?
see all this graffiti here? See how this street does not look like it should? And
I think it looks good. I like the graffiti. For the record, I think the graffiti looks much better than if they were just going to paint these gray. Do more graffiti.
How should it look?
cleaning supplies? Yes, we actually did bring out some stuff to make this.
Where's
city
the
look
clean? I want to clean. Can I clean?
But I don't really need to talk with you, so.
Can I clean too?
You know, if you bought cleaning supplies, I would love to help.
Every single paycheck, not my federal taxes, not my state taxes. My city taxes are $160.
You're playing Gray's better? My bad. Sorry.
Every single paycheck. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? It shouldn't have to come to this, but I'm so glad that it's happening, so that way we can have real conversations. And when we stop having conversations,
Yeah, I think I think this was near like where they showed like the Banksy Museum. I don't know anything about that, but like that's what he's famous for. So I'd imagine that nobody gives a shit and that they like the graffiti that's here.
that's when violence happens. So I'm here to clean up. That's all I have to say.
Are you living paycheck to paycheck?
Of course I am.
Yeah, so there's an affordability crisis.
Literacy is the path to communism.
It's a serious.
That's why conservatives won't read.
Because, yeah, I mean, there's an affordability crisis. That's valid.
It's not affordable because it's not safe. When you make a city safe, it becomes affordable. It's that easy.
No, it's not. Yeah, no, that's not true fucking at all. That doesn't make any sense at all. People move out of cities when they're not safe. They become less, or they become more affordable. Like the higher a crime rate is in a neighborhood, the cheaper the house. That's the exact opposite of true in every fucking scenario. And they say it so confidently with her cute little Charlie Kirk Freedom shirt on. She's keeping his legacy going. I say things that are the opposite of truth with complete confidence, and when challenged, I walk away.
Okay, I mean, follow the logic. So we clean up all the, the crime rate drops to historic lows. What happens?
I'm being gaslit. Yes. Then businesses are happy to invest.
Okay.
Stimulate the economy.
Businesses have been investing. We had record investments through the 2000s.
And then what would happen to prices? They would go up if that happened. Okay. Which is fine.
2020.
Don't we think just one of them should understand anything about economics ever? We're at the stage, like one of the things that's really interesting, like the confluence of Ashley St. Clair coming out with these stories, the Charlie Kirk stuff that leaks out, and now this new book. What's it called again? I forget. Whatever it's called, Maggie Haberman's book. Is the amount of influence and the amount of money that the right actually directly sends to these content creators, and how they direct their messaging through that. Like in the book, it's talking about like, oh, this message should probably go through Joe Rogan. This message should go through Charlie Kirk. This message should go through Sean Hannity. And then they get that out through Charlie Kirk or Sean Hannity or Joe Rogan. And that's how they disseminate their messaging. The people, like, these are the grunts. They're the people on boots on the ground, and they don't know anything because they never teach them anything. They just tell them to go out and say the things that they're supposed to say, and they do. And like, these are simple questions, like prodding questions by Walter Masterson, and she's just having her pants pulled down, has no idea.
COVID, and rents just went up and up. I mean, I was a real estate agent. I watched rent go up every quarter. And I mean, this is during record prosperity in New York City.
That's great. I can tell you, businesses don't want to invest here right now because it's a disaster.
What do you think all these businesses are? These don't look like boarded up businesses to me. This looks like a pretty thriving corner.
That's why.
But I'm talking about, you mentioned the affordability crisis, and you said you're living paycheck to. I mentioned the affordability crisis. You mentioned you're living paycheck to paycheck.
I'm here to clean up Canal Street. I'm here to clean up Canal Street.
Okay. And then is that going to make your rent cheaper? Is that going to solve the housing crisis?
Making the city cleaner and safer will solve the housing crisis. Yes.
That's honestly the Republican plan. How are you going to address affordability? Well, we're going to keep blaming immigrants and poor people. Eventually, if we get rid of immigrants and poor people, everything will be fine.
That will solve the food, like lower the price of food.
Sir, leave me alone. Thank you.
Got it.
You want to go see fun, but you follow me. No, it's not going to happen. No, listen, I can walk where I want. We're here to clean up the graffiti on Canal Street.
I feel like it's about a lot more than just cleaning up graffiti on
This
Canal
guy,
Street.
he's straight out of TPUSA. He's going to have the answers. This guy's got the answers. Look, he's got a white shirt on. He even he did one extra button down. Letting the it looks like he might be shaving the chest there too. He knows. This guy knows. He's going to be a politician someday.
If you come down here 365 days a year, this place has become absurdly defaced. And if you want to show the crowd, if you'd like,
I don't know why that's not
at your own leisure,
thinking.
all this graffiti and defaced property here, okay?
Yeah.
That's the issue, is the quality of life down here in Canal Street. It has gotten cyclically and exponentially worse.
There's literal like units within the NYPD that deal with.
Again, this looks fine. This just looks like, you've been to New York. In the background, there's a BMW there.
Graffiti writer.
That's a Nissan Altima. Those aren't cheap.
And stuff like they'll follow a certain graffiti artist and track their work, so on and so forth. Would you like to see that department expanded? What's the end goal here?
I mean, in terms of expanding the department, I can't speak to that, right? This is the first time I'm learning there was a department, but something's obvious.
This is a photo op, sir. We're just doing a photo op. So could you please just let us do our photo op? We don't want to answer questions. We're just here to show graffiti, and this is what we do. We do propaganda.
You're wrong. And I don't think you need more than two eyes to see that.
It's been over department for decades.
Yeah.
It's the graffiti writers nickname it the Vandal Squad.
Yeah, I can't speak to the department. I can't. But I would like to see laws being enforced that prohibit this from happening.
So someone gets caught for doing one of these pieces right here, right?
Yep.
Okay, what should be the charge?
I mean, you're putting me on the
treason. Treason. Say it, dude. We know. Say it. It's treason.
Dictate our criminal justice system. Whatever charge would disincentivize them from doing so, and so we'd stop having so much recidivism in the United States. I don't think you need to be a criminal justice or political science expert to understand that at a very basic human level.
What does that mean? What does any of that mean? Does anybody know? Understand what at a basic human level? Understand what? I have no idea. I legitimately don't know what they're doing. They're just washing a wall, and they're like, this is common sense stuff. When we wash this wall, obviously, people won't do graffiti anymore. And if we put laws in place that are already in place that you can't do graffiti, then they won't do graffiti. This is what we're doing. This is what the Trump administration's worried about. For all of you Trump voters that are here, if there's any of you, this is the messaging from the Republican Party. These guys are paid by the Republicans to come down here and do this. And what the message is going to be is poor people bad, immigrants bad.
Israel first! Did you guys know that Trump said he would sleep with girls under 18 on the Howard Stern show?
How do we keep New York safe?
Well, minimize the crime.
That's a good point. Yeah, harsh penalties for petty crimes is not how you address recidivism. Yeah, it increases it. Because if you give somebody, like, let's say you make it a felony charge and you send them to jail, now they have a criminal record. Now it's harder for them to get jobs, harder for them to get housing. And then sometimes they're left with what? No real prospects, so they turn to crime.
Immigrants.
Somebody just gave her that hat.
So you think immigrants are the cause of crime?
Well, not necessarily. I don't want to comment so much on that because I want to stay apolitical, but...
I want to stay apolitical, hanging out with Nick Shirley with my New York First hat on, but I'm just here to be an objective observer.
I think we passed that.
I guess so, but just here to support, just seeing the crowd. I've been a follower of Sweeney's for a while. I just think he's a cool person. Just wanted to come stop by.
Like you're next on the chopping block after they, in this, anti-immigrant movement.
Well, I'm not really sure. Sorry. Oh yeah, I'll go back to school. I'm just looking.
Yeah. You think they get nothing in return?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I've got to go back to school.
Does this look like something in return?
It's all funny until it's your property. It's still that's not, Mark. It is incredible, dude. You are incredibly capable of missing literally everything. and then making this about, do we think you should be able to graffiti somebody's property? That's not what any of this is about. It's clearly not about that.
This gets cleaned up every week, though.
I live right in this vicinity. No, it doesn't. We're doing it ourselves.
It doesn't get cleaned, but that's the free market.
What do you mean the free market?
This is the landlord not choosing not to clean it up.
If you were the landlord, tell me this right now, brother. If it gets defaced every single day because there aren't laws in place to disincentivize it, would you spend thousands of dollars?
With what I charge in rent? Absolutely. If I'm going to charge $10,000 a month for a one-bedroom,
disagree.
if I'm going to charge $10,000 a month for a one-bedroom,
if I was a property owner,
These people don't live here. Graffiti's not that bad. Even then, like these, it looks better than these buildings.
and none of the laws were put in place to disincentivize this from happening.
But this is just like class warfare. This is just this. Nick Shirley grew up in a nice, affluent neighborhood in Farmington, Utah. He's never seen anything like this. He hates poor people. Where he lives is literally like on this hill overlooking like downtown Ogden, which is where the poorer people are. Like that's all of Utah on the Wasatch Front. You can see where the rich live and where the poor live, and the rich are up on the hill and the poor are down in the valleys. That's the whole state. It's called the Wasatch Front. Just drive head north on I-15, and on the left-hand side are the poors, and on the right-hand side are the wealthy. Generally, you can just see that the whole way up. This is what they're spending their time on. This moves people like Mark. Mark, I'm glad this is moving you. I'm glad that this is so important. This isn't about graffiti. No, dude, it's about this is a publicity stunt where they're. I guess you did miss it, Mark. They claim that once they cover up this graffiti, then more businesses will move in here, invest in the community, and crime will go down, and so will prices for housing. That's what their claim is, that by covering up this graffiti, everything is going to be fixed. This is the epitome of Republicans don't have a plan. How are we going to make things more affordable? What if we did a YouTube video where we painted over graffiti? Yeah, that'll do it.
The law. I asked you how.
Why are you trying to do a catch-up?
Where should they go? How far should they go? What should be the penalty for defacing this wall?
Whatever penalty is requisite to prevent this from happening. It's not a radical concept, and you keep on trying to put me in these gotcha.
I just looked it up.
It's not a radical concept to ask somebody what the punishment should be. Like you guys should have an answer. How do you fix this? You should make punishments. Well, there are punishments. Make them worse. Which obviously never works. Dolphin said the book's called Regime Change. Thank you. Appreciate that. There are two authors, Jonathan Swan and Maggie Haberman. Guess what? He only went after her on True Social. Wonder why. Jonathan Swan gave Trump the worst interview of his life. I'm surprised he doesn't go after Jonathan Swan more. But also, he always goes after Maggie Haberman. And then he invites her in for like one-on-one interviews that she can record. They have the weirdest relationship.
Law 14560, it's up to a year in jail and a $10,000 fine.
What's that?
Penal law 14560, it gives you up to a year in jail for defacing this wall, and it's up to a $10,000. It's a $10,000 fine. Yes.
Is that law working, brother? Is that law?
So it should be 2 years.
Why are you?
It's a year in jail.
Why don't we have it?
I'm asking you. The good faith conversation. I said. The law.
Once again, Republicans' entire strategy is just keep asking questions, never provide a solution. You know why they can't provide a solution? Because everything they actually advocate for doesn't work. Like over-policing, mandatory minimums, raising the punishment for these types of crimes. Like it doesn't do what they think it's going to do. People are still going to do it. And then if you give them a criminal record, it leads to more recidivism, the exact opposite of what they think. That's why they don't have a plan. Because as soon as you start asking for real plans, it's pretty exposed that they don't have one.
It's up to a year in jail.
Brother.
1 year.
Brother.
Well, ain't working, brother.
We get rid of this graffiti
Thanks,
right
brother.
here, not by investing in communities.
That's a good point. If they ever fixed anything, they couldn't run on it anymore. Good point.
By after-school programs. We do it by investing in police.
Am I doing a good job, Walter?
You're doing a phenomenal job, sir.
Am I doing a good job? I love Trump so much. I want to do everything that Trump does. I want to go and fly on the Lolita Express.
Here, I'm gonna paint too. Back to China. I love that. See, there we go. I thought we were just painting.
Go fuck yourself.
Go back to China. Yeah, there we go.
I'm gonna do the edges.
What are you protesting?
Go back to China, they said, for asking questions. Got it.
I'm protesting socialism. I want We want lists to be done by the free market.
It is done by the free market.
No. You're doing it for free.
Coming together.
No, that's
private individuals.
That's socialism.
Socialism is when the government does it. You need a lesson on.
No. Socialism is when Palantir. He's so close to the point. He's almost
Honestly,
there.
neither one of them is explaining socialism.
I want to help him. Where's a paintbrush? Here, I'll take that one. Nick and I are going to do some socialism together. Where the community comes together for free. We're not waiting.
That's probably good. I'm done with that. Anyways, let's get to actual people that work for the government. This is Josh Doss. I'm not familiar with Josh Doss, but he was on CNN. His handle is at Doss Discourse. There he is. I guess he's bigger on Instagram there at Doss.discourse. But this kind of introduces the theme of the show. And this is one of the first things I saw this morning. And then why I wound up building the outline the way that I did.
Looking at some polling research today, 67% of Americans say that they are more afraid of running out of food than death. And that we've had a 16% increase since President Trump has been in office. My point is this. If you don't want people to be curious about socialism, capitalism has to work a lot better. It's really.
I don't think anyone's gonna. I don't think President Trump would disagree with what you just said.
Well, guess what? Today, President Trump.
Great. And here's the theme. He acknowledges it. But the Republican solution is, well, we just got to keep doing it. They recognize it's not working. But they don't have a way out because the way out is taxing rich people less. Like, we're in debt. It doesn't make sense. Nothing mathematically makes any fucking sense. This is what the remnants of Ronald Reagan's trickle down economics, Reaganomics. This is what we have left. Republicans grasping for straws while it collapses around them and going, but socialism could probably be worse. What are you going to do to fix it? We don't know. We keep giving the billionaires more money and it's not working.
Trump was out here talking about America will never be a socialist country. America will never be a communist country, when he just asked for $11 billion in subsidies for farmers because capitalism is killing American agriculture. His capitalistic war in the Mideast is not allowing fertilizer to get to American agriculture. So it's failing all around. It's killing people, right? And people are afraid and ready to do something else.
Yeah. That's why the DSA is having themselves a nice moment. They're the only ones offering real solutions. Stacey said, I've spent 10 years trying to figure out why Trump has such a push-pull relationship with Maggie Haberman. A lot of people really hate Maggie Haberman for that. But if you look back, like in the moment, I get that. But if you look back at the reporting coming out of the Trump administration both times, some of the most important stuff, some of the stuff we know for a fact is due to Maggie Haberman not only being well-connected, well-sourced, but she also documents everything. And she's not somebody who gets caught like putting out lies. So very important journalist, in my opinion. Probably the most important journalist during the Trump administration. Ro Khanna went on, I think this was on CNN, MS Now, and was pushed. And you'll see a lot of this. There's a bunch of like deleted tweets from Daria Liza Chevalier. How do you say that? Chevalier? I don't never remember how to say it. And a lot of people that are alleged to be democratic socialists, like Ro Khanna, who's not. He's very pro-capitalist. He represents the richest district in the country. I think more billionaires in his district than any other district. Definitely wouldn't say he's a socialist, but they're going to be pressed on this. And I thought that his response here was brilliantly lays out once again the difference. And I'm not cheerleading Democrats. Democrats are dog shit. Democrats are running on Donald Trump is bad. Literally the only people running on ideas are Democratic socialists and those adjacent to them.
Tom Malinowski, who himself recently lost in a primary, but he's your colleague in Congress, had a series of tweets in which he was critical, actually, of the leadership of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. I'll read you from some of that. He's talking about some of the unwillingness to criticize, for example, Daria Liza Chevalier, who won one of these primaries. He says, young Dems voted for Avila Chevalier not because they knew her, they didn't, but because leaders like Mamdani and Sanders embraced her. Those leaders could have chosen a serious progressive with non-insane views.
Who? Tom Malinowski's sounding a lot like the Republicans. They could have chosen someone better. Who? Can only choose the people that run. She was the only one with this agenda. Yeah, it would have been nice if somebody didn't have like a bunch of tweets that piss people off. Great. So what are you going to do? You're going to pick a moderate instead?
Shows this. The result is the mirror image of MAGA. It doesn't matter if candidates are qualified or what their beliefs are. All that matters is that they're on the team backed by its leader. Anyone who questions that is slated for the next political destruction. Nothing wrong with leaders on the left wanting to push the party leftward.
I mean, that's crazy. Like, we're talking about the mirror image of MAGA. MAGA runs the entire GOP. We're talking about like 8 to 10 people that are going to be members of Congress that are in the DSA, maybe less. Doesn't matter if the candidates are qualified or what their beliefs are. I mean, that's politics. Doesn't matter if you're qualified. What's qualified, though? What makes any of these people unqualified? All that matters is that they're on the team backed by its leader. Anyone who questions that is slated. Yeah, that is what matters. We can have different beliefs and still advocate for the same policies. Yeah, that does matter. I don't know what this criticism is.
But true courage in this moment on the left and right is not taking on the establishment. That's easy. It's setting limits for your side and telling your followers what they don't want to hear. So I'm curious if you agree.
This is a crazy quote. Nothing wrong with leaders on the left wanting to push the party leftward, but true courage in this moment on the left and right is not taking on the establishment. That's easy. No, it's not. It's not easy. It's incredibly difficult to take on the establishment. That's the frustration. It's setting limits for your side and telling your followers what they don't want to hear. What about just listening to them? Yeah, this is typical holding the left to a higher standard, but it's worse than that. Right? Like, is anything she said worse than somebody supporting genocide? Where are they on those people? We seem to coexist with people who support a genocide. That doesn't seem to bother enough Democrats. The self-importance of some of these people, like it's telling your followers what they don't want to hear, which is what? That she's sent a mean tweet, a bad tweet. I think her tweets were about like abolishing the police and abolishing ICE. I haven't even seen them, to be honest. But I know when they've referenced them, it's about abolishing ICE and abolishing police.
So I'm curious if you agree with that assessment that it has been difficult at times right now to say things that are at odds with one's own faction within the Democratic Party. Are there things that you agree with Malinowski that progressives may not want to hear that they should hear if they want to win elections, for example?
Catherine, first of all, the Democratic primary voters are much more unified than the media narrative. They're unified that we want single-payer health care and that the current health care system is broken. They're unified that we have an unfair and lopsided economy and that we actually need to have a wealth tax on billionaires. They're unified that we should never have had these foreign wars in Iraq, Iran, and that we should.
Those are three really unifying messages that are also very important and also have plans behind them, and people who are voting can easily see how it would benefit them to have single-payer health care. They can see how it would benefit them if they had more workers' rights, if they were able to collectively bargain. They can see how it would benefit them to stop sending billions and billions and billions of dollars to the Middle East to fight wars we have no business fighting. These are easy wins. That's why they're winning. That's like they're winning a Democratic primary. These are registered Democrats. They're voting for Democratic Socialists because of the ideas, and they're not willing to run away from the name. I don't think that socialist term has quite the amount of fear that it used to. It's still in the Republican Party. Still a lot of people afraid of it. And these people that are criticizing from this standpoint of like, oh, we don't like socialism. Yeah, that's fear mongering. You're just doing their thing now. Come back with substance.
Never have allowed for the bombing and genocide in Gaza, and that it is outrageous that we gave so much aid to Israel while our own communities are suffering and aren't having economic development. Those are the issues that are motivating Democratic primary voters around the country. And I would say that it's far more difficult to stand up to an establishment that basically has presided over the decline of the American dream than it is to do anything else. I mean, that's standing up to economic power, to corporate power, to special interests, to PACs, and that's what you see these candidates doing. Now, Do I agree with every one of the tweets or past statements of these candidates? Of course not. I've always supported secure borders. I have, of course, support law enforcement and the enforcement of the law. And I will make my positions clear. But it is awfully hypocritical for Republicans who have given such a pass to all their members to go cherry pick the random statements of candidates as opposed to.
Now, he's obviously referring to something a Democrat said, but it is a good point. Like, nobody wants to be like the Republicans. You guys want to be called cucks for the next 8 years because we just do whatever one specific person says? That's ironically what some of these Democrats the lesson they seem to have learned is that in order to beat fascism, you have to replicate fascism. You have to unify behind that one person. You have to centralize power. You have to centralize decision making. That seems to be what a lot of these Democrats, and that's just fear, right? That's just typical Democrat bitch shit. Like, we don't learn our own lessons. We just try and copy what works for Republicans. Well, there's a reason it doesn't work over here. There's a reason it works there and it doesn't work here. And it's thought. It's education. It's critical thinking. You can't just centralize all the power around one person over here.
Focusing on their central message.
To be clear, this was not a Republican. This was Tom Malinowski, who's your Democratic colleague in the House.
Well, I think that Tom's missing the bigger picture, which is that these candidates aren't winning because of idiosyncratic views that I would disagree with. They're winning because they're standing up for Medicare for all. They're standing up and calling out the genocide in Gaza. They're standing up and saying no aid to Israel. They're standing up and saying we're going to tax billionaires. They're standing up and saying that the American dream isn't working for young Americans. And people see them willing to fight for that and not kowtow to an establishment that has lost to Donald.
Also want to point out, it wasn't that long ago, it was last year. We were talking about how long it would take before the Democrats finally capitulated and adopted a push for single-payer health care or Medicare for all. I don't see a lot of pushback. Democrats are either openly speaking about it in support or they're laying low. But there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of pushback. We're getting there much quicker than I thought we would, which is a huge win. Huge win. I did not think we would get here. I thought you'd have to wait until there was a progressive candidate running for president before we'd even start talking about this in the mainstream. But I saw clips this morning on MS Now. I saw one on Fox News. I saw one on CNN. And they're all talking about healthcare prices right now. And they're starting to connect those dots that our healthcare prices are significantly higher than these other countries, but they're socialist. And so why is theirs not more expensive? And the Republican argument that Trump's been running on is, they're just gouging us. They're just stealing from us. They're not charging those other countries more because they can get it from us. Yeah, exactly. All of them are have collective bargaining with their citizenry, and we don't. And so we're the ones that get fucked because it's us versus them. It's me versus the insurance company. It's you versus the insurance company. We don't get to collectively bargain and put our voices together. I think we're going to have a legitimate push from the midterms, and I think that the next president or the next presidential candidate from the Democrats is going to be forced to adopt a Medicare for all solution. I think we're 2.5 years away from this actually happening.
Donald Trump twice, and that has presided over the decline of the American dream. Look, the generation in charge is not the greatest generation. It's a failed generation of political leadership by definition.
Hi, Tanya.
Given us 2 Trump terms that 80% of Americans think the American dream is dead. And what these candidates are showing is that the party wants a new direction.
Thanks,
now,
Damien.
I would be happy to answer any specific questions of where I stand on any errant tweet that a candidate has put out. And I think it's incumbent on all of us to be very clear where we stand. But people who are looking at those errant tweets are missing the organizing and why they won.
All right. Good answer. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded. We rely on your generosity in order to fund what we do each and every day. We've had some sick days, some down days. So if you can help us knock out that gift goal by the end of the live, that'd be greatly appreciated. It's 10:40 now, so we got about, 2.5 more hours. We got a ton of stuff to cover today. Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Super Chats, and over on TikTok, if you enjoy watching over there, just know that we've been told that the only way to protect our live, they've been pretty honest about it, is just that we have to do things. We have to solicit gifts And we have to talk about gifts and we have to talk about subscriptions. And the more people gift, the more likely we are to stay on TikTok. So if you like us on TikTok and you have the means to send gifts, that'd be greatly appreciated as well. Let's also see if we can get the likes up there at 32,000. So if you're just sitting there, maybe just hit like a bunch of times. That'll move us into the algorithm. I have not seen a warning yet, but thanks, Johnny D, Eve, Belinda, Cousin, the 716, and Lisa Michelle for the gifts that you've sent so far today. I appreciate that. Okay, moving on. Here we go. This is Mom Donnie. He went on with is it Jonathan Carl? I think it's Jonathan Carl on ABC's This Week. I'm gonna do that. We'll do that. And he was asked about Josh Gottheimer. He's a Democrat in Congress. I'm trying to remember where is Gott? Is he New Jersey? Where's Gottheimer from? Can I remember? Yeah, New Jersey 5. Hey, how about that? First time. He says that if you're a socialist, you're not a Democrat. And so Mamdani obviously is viewed as the face right now of the Democratic Socialists. He should be. He was asked about this, quote, "This is exactly how you handle it. And this is what Democratic Socialists need to keep doing. Stay on message, But more importantly, you have to be like Mamdani. The reason that Mamdani is effective right now, the reason that his endorsements mean something right now is he's delivering on what he promised. And he won't stop talking about it. He's unapologetic. He just keeps talking about getting the things done that he campaigned on. You don't see him caving to special interest groups or big corporations. He's willing to set things aside when he needs something from Trump, when he needs something from Kathy Hochul. But he's most importantly delivering on the progressive ideas that he ran on. And I hope that as the face of the DSA right now, I hope people are taking note. And I hope that that's being communicated, that if you're going to run as a member of the DSA, you better fucking show up and get things done too. Because if you don't get things done, or if you capitulate, like, it's going to ruin this whole movement.
You can only find it in history books, and we need to bring it back to the.
What's he getting done? Well, they got rid of the budget deficit. They're delivering. Well, actually, I'll let him tell you. He'll tell you what he's getting done. You just won't like any of it.
You can only find it in history books, and we need to bring it back to the present day.
And you're hearing some not just dismissive, though. There's resentment, and this is from fellow Democrats who think that this could jeopardize Democratic chances in the fall. I mean, you've got Josh Gottheimer, a Democratic member of Congress, says, many of us believe, as do I, if you're a socialist, you are not a Democrat. And in fact, they put out a manifesto today. I don't know, have you seen this thing?
Sounds pretty socialist to me.
It's not a communist manifesto. It's a moderate manifesto saying we are...
Also, bad idea. This never works. When are Democrats going to learn this part? If you're a socialist, you're not a Democrat. Cool. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Cool. What, you guys going to learn from this at some point, you establishment Democrats? Stop telling people what Democrats are. Make it a big tent then. Don't say if you're a socialist, you can't be a Democrat. If you're a socialist in this country, who are you going to vote for? If you can't vote for Democrats, who's left to vote for? Join the party, influence the party.
Capitalist, not socialist. We believe in a growing, fair, and competitive economy, entrepreneurship, ownership. I mean, this is a direct response, they've made it clear, to what you did here on Tuesday.
Well, I mean, that's great, but what's a party if not its voters? And I'm proud to sit in front of you as the mayor of our city, having received more than 1 million votes, a little less than a year ago.
Thank you, Kelsey.
And when we're talking about these incredible congressional candidates, they won their races, and they won their races with a vision of what politics should be, and one that actually speaks to working people. And for a lot of people who ask themselves, what does democratic socialism mean? And you can tell them the answer at a theoretical level. It's the choice to extend democracy from the ballot box the rest of their lives. But in terms of what it means over these last 7 months, we've seen a city with democratic socialist principles at the heart of it.
Guys, if you're a socialist, you lack understanding of COMPLECT, COMPLECT systems. Okay, that's what the Republicans here are telling us. You gotta understand COMPLECT systems, which sounds complex, but it's not. It's COMPLECT, which is definitely a word that they're using correctly and not misspelling. And that's also not something that like spell check or like autocorrect would catch there, because complex isn't it's not close enough to complex. So that that person chose to use the word COMPLECT.
in our administration. And what we've delivered has been record lows when it comes to murders and shootings.
So is it pragmatic democratic socialism?
I think democratic socialism at the heart is pragmatic, because if we cannot deliver for working people, then what is this for? I'm not interested in writing a manifesto or, frankly, in reading one. I'm interested.
You're welcome, Clive. Maybe less lectures from you without. I think it was Clive that wrote that. Sorry if it's not, but maybe less lectures from people who don't know what any of these words mean.
Interested in delivering, and that's exactly what we've been showing.
But there.
You didn't have a core argument, Clive. You said we don't understand complex systems. You didn't make an argument. You generically pointed at these allegedly complex systems. You didn't identify what the systems were. You just threw out a blanket statement. There was literally nothing to respond to. Even if you had spelled the word correctly, Clive, how do you respond to that? What complex system do you think they don't understand? These aren't ad hominems attacks, bud. Ad hominem would be me saying, like, you're a fucking douchebag. I'm not doing that. I'm telling you that you can call in. You message GenDub1, JENNDUBB1 on Discord. You can come up. You can talk to me live on the air. Now, your next comment is, I don't have Discord. I don't know how to use it. We get it. This happens every single day. Every single day. Somebody's like, I'm going to come explain it to you. And then we tell you how to explain it to me. And then there we go. So you can come up here if you want. What's the complex system then, Clive? What's the complex system that we don't understand? I can't scroll back. Just say it. Don't. I said it earlier and you didn't listen. Yeah, but there's a lot of comments here. They go by quickly, and I'm watching other stuff. I'll watch for your answer. What's the complex system we don't understand? Here's back to Mondani.
You can only find it in history books, and we need to bring it back to the present day.
And you're hearing some not just dismissive, though. There's resentment. And this is from fellow Democrats who think that this could jeopardize Democratic chances in the fall. I mean, you've got Josh Gottheimer, a Democratic member of Congress, says, many of us believe, as do I, if you're a socialist, you are not a Democrat. And in fact, they put out a manifesto today.
All right. I didn't realize that it started over. My bad. Okay. Here is some interesting, well, actually, before I get to the polling, here is Brian Kilmeade had on Joe Manchin, notorious Republican Joe Manchin, who is still pretending to be a Democrat, but I appreciate it. Joe Manchin definitely has a pulse on what the American people want. Was brought on with Brian Kilmeade to scare each other about the word socialism. Let's see. If Dems accept anti-abortion Dems from Arkansas, but not socialists from New York, you're not a big tent. You're ideologically bankrupt. Oh, love that. Yes. Axe said hotter than two rats fucking in a wool sock in Florida today. Hope you're having better luck in Arizona or anywhere else you might be, guys. Yeah. It's supposed to be cooler this week. Somebody told me it's going to get to like the 90s. It was going to be in the 90s this week instead of the 100s. So I don't know. I was outside like 5 a.m. and it felt nice.
Let me just tell you that 47% of the people identify themselves as independents. They have to take, and all of you.
Nasri said, I wish I had more friends like you. Aw. I'm not the greatest friend, but I wish your friends were more like me too.
On your shows, talk about independence, because independence is where you win or lose elections.
But 62% of Democrats say they prefer socialism over capitalism.
Boom. 62% of Democrats. That's when capitalism has lost. Who you have left holding on to capitalism is people that don't understand anything about what capitalism or socialism means, and then just like capitalist dick riders. I can be a billionaire one day too. That's kind of what's left.
If they do, then by God, there's not a Democratic Party left. That's crazy.
That'd be great.
That is crazy.
It's true.
Look how mad he is that 61% of the voters don't think like him. You're all crazy. Why? Somebody tell us why this is crazy.
It's not a Fox poll.
If you want to ask me, well, that's another reason why I'm not registered as a Democrat. I can't put up with that crazy shit. That's nuts. And I've told him that. I said, when you believe that the government should
nobody gives a fuck about you anymore, Joe Manchin.
Take care of you, and you don't want to get up at your, I was asked by Elizabeth Warren, what's happened to the West Virginia Democrats? Why we lose all the union? I said, you've lost the union workers, you lost the working people of America, because they believe the Democratic Party in Washington spends more time, effort, and resources on able-bodied, capable people that don't work or won't work than those that still are working, trying to make a living.
That's true. More Perfect Union's done multiple episodes in West Virginia. They took Bernie Sanders to West Virginia. I'm going to show you it's a clip from West Virginia. That's true. That is how Democrats lost these rural areas. Chuck Schumer has a quote. I don't remember exactly what the quote is, but it's basically like, for every rural voter we lose because of our messaging and we're not standing up for the workers anymore. For every one of those rural workers we lose, we pick up 3. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 voters in the suburbs. It was a choice by the Democrats to abandon working class people. That absolutely happened. Yeah, and the people in West Virginia, I've watched enough. I've watched so many videos on West Virginia. That's how they feel. They don't feel that the Republicans care more or that the Democrats care more. They hear what Donald Trump says, where like, hey, this money has left your community. And just simply that acknowledgement and then putting a face on it, which for them is scary immigrants or, scary Democrats and socialists. And they show poor people in other places who are being taken care of. They created a villain, and they said, this is actually your enemy. And now the people in West Virginia are kind of waking up. They're like, well, that didn't work either. So we're at this shift back. We're at a tipping point now going back the other way. I think that what More Perfect Union has shown and what you've seen out of Maine is that Democrats actually have much better messaging in rural America, and they should go there. They should target these areas. Like the Republicans are struggling in rural America. Red towns all over this country, they're not doing well. They're not faring well here. A lot of these towns are left with like, fuck, what are we going to do? And then they get roped into a data center. That's where I would go if I were Democrats. That's where I would focus the money. You're going to win. You're going to win the suburbs. That's already done. They hate Donald Trump. Go talk to working class people.
That's it in a nutshell. I can't give it to you any plainer than that.
I'll tell you, I'd feel
All right, let's pull this clip up from More Perfect Union and just give you an example here. I'm going to break in about 2 minutes in.
You put it up with whichever one's easier for you to do.
Yeah, wood screws.
Tyler Cannon grew up in the hills of southern West Virginia, where news travels fast and nothing stays secret forever. In March, he came across something unusual: 2 brand new permit applications for power plants in Mingo County.
These power plants would be the second largest in the state.
Hey, Jen, did Clive message you? He says that he did message you. Will you just let us know if he messaged you?
In terms of power generating capacity, and they would be the 3rd largest in the state in terms of greenhouse gas emissions.
But those power plants were never meant to power the homes in Mingo.
We have an update on
former Jehovah's Witness here. Love the channel. Thank you, Kai Hammond.
Data centers coming to Mingo County.
Ground zero when it comes to 2 potential data centers.
Residents are raising concerns.
It ain't what we see, it's going to kill us. It's what we don't see.
When the news broke about the data centers, residents started showing up to public meetings with a lot of questions.
Why are greenhouse gas emissions not accounted for in this permit?
Well, what kind of experience do you have with this kind of equipment that they're saying that they're going to use to control emissions?
What sort of time frame is this project looking at?
How is the public to understand water impacts when we have no information about volume of withdrawal? And what would it take for us?
This is what it feels like in rural America right now. Nobody cares about you. They're literally saying, we'll put these data centers in. The data centers will actually kill you. And you don't get answers on this. That's what Democrats could be campaigning against in rural America. They could be all over rural America saying, would you rather have us stand up for you and not have these data centers here poisoning your water, poisoning your air? Or would you rather have the Republicans tell you to sit down and shut the fuck up?
To get you to not issue these permits.
And for months, they were met with silence, delays, and half answers.
Clive did message Jen. If we're going to have a debate here in a second, I'm going to go to the bathroom, so I'll let this play for a second.
I have no college degree, but I have common sense, and common sense tells me this is not good.
Eventually, many residents started taking matters into their own hands. Why did you decide to have one of these installed?
I wanted it installed to find out just exactly what this thing was going to be and what it was going to emit.
Tommy Powers isn't your typical tree-hugging environmentalist. For years, he was an underground coal miner.
I'm not doing this because I hate coal mining or off-grid power plants. If they can make them safe and do what's right, I would support them. But when I go to a meeting that they refuse to answer questions, it tells me they have something to hide.
For people in Mingo, this story's got a familiar ring to it. Another industry, another promise of prosperity, built on the same land that coal once hollowed out.
We have seen every 5 to 10 years in southern West Virginia, some industrial developer propose what at that time is cutting-edge technology that requires an incredible amount of resources, promising jobs in hopes of a lax regulatory landscape and political conditions that will embrace whatever industry comes our way.
I can't believe this argument still works for conservatives. The richest, most powerful people in this country, who are wealthier now than they've ever been in relation to the middle class, are still somehow getting away with the argument. Just one sec, Jen. They're still somehow getting away with the argument that we need to deregulate. And they're the ones pushing that. And the richest people among us who have been deregulated over and over again to get to the positions they're in are somehow convincing red voters, hey, like, we're rich, so that's why we can do this, but we need deregulation so that you can be like us. And then that's not what happens. They deregulate, it doesn't affect you at all, or at least your ability to make money, and then they just gobble up more of the wealth. And like 50 years of this, they're still telling the same lie every single day. I don't know how it's still working. What's up, Jen?
Clive's in the chat, so when I'm going to get over there, if you want to remind everybody that these conversations can sometimes go longer, so if we still have that gift goal, we're still a ways away from it. So if we could knock that out with this conversation's happening, that would be sweet.
I'm too lazy to understand the meaning of deregulation. Deregulation is when you get rid of regulations. That's what it means. I wasn't too lazy. I thought you knew, but if we need to define that for you, that's fine. All right, let me jump over and find Clive. Guys, I'll try and read the chat while we're debating, but if there's something specific you want to say, send that in a super chat or a PayPal Venmo, and I'll try and do those in real time as much as I possibly can. Clive, what's up?
I understand the meaning of.
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. How are you? If you wouldn't mind just muting, because there's a delay, muting the sound on the back end there, and then we'll be able to talk right here.
Is it good now?
Yeah, I think we're good. I appreciate you coming up, man.
Yeah, thanks for accepting the call.
Yeah.
How are things going?
Oh, wonderful. Couldn't be better.
That's good.
All right.
It looks like you're having a good stream.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You're here, if I remember right, to explain, or your claim was there were some complex systems we didn't understand. Is that what you want to talk about, or anything else I said?
So to me, when I hear the push of production to the workers, I think of where I grew up. The roads are grossly unmaintained.
Where'd you grow up?
And I think to myself, why are these potholes not filled if we have the Department of Transportation?
Sure. Where'd you grow
And
up?
I think in Pennsylvania.
Cool. Like rural?
Northeastern.
Okay. Cool.
If you ever heard of Scranton,
Yeah.
it's in that area.
Yeah.
So that area. So I think to myself, why are these potholes not filled? We have the Department of Transportation. We pay a lot of money to them. And I think to myself, would a better system be a private road maintenance firm who has an incentive that pushes the incentive to their workers to efficiently fill the potholes and maintain the roads?
What would be their incentive?
Profit, money.
What do you mean?
So instead of, like, for example, if a contract was bid on from a private company, they would be able to incentivize those road workers to efficiently go out and work.
We do that already.
It's not efficient, though.
No. We hire private contractors already.
Right. But I'm saying overall, like, because the argument will be, well, socialism maintains the roads, right?
Pays for it, not the actual
Right.
labor. Yeah.
But is it efficiently done? Is there a better way to do it?
Oh, there are places it's efficiently done, but in almost every state I've ever lived in, it is private contractors who are doing the work. My brother is a crane operator in Utah, and they've redone I-15 a million times, and it's always his company getting those contracts. It's mostly private contract. It's mostly not government, like construction workers. I think there are sometimes in local, but like if we're talking about a statewide project, these are bid out to private contractors all the time.
And why are they bid to private contractors?
Because the government doesn't have we don't do construction.
And if they did, do you think it would be more efficient or less efficient?
Um, uh, I probably, you know what? Probably more, to be honest. I think it would be more efficient. And the
What
reason I
makes you
think,
say it would?
yeah, the reason I think it would be more efficient is because you're talking about like incentive. The incentive to
Mhm.
get the roads fixed, if that falls on, so like for example, I grew up in a small town. We
Mhm.
actually had that problem. We had snow, so we were always having
Right,
like
same.
potholes and stuff,
Yeah.
and that fell on the city council. And we were a small enough town, and everybody was conservative that like that was a big deal where I lived. Is that if the city council wasn't taking care of the roads, they would get removed. They'd lose their job. And if they hired the wrong contractor and it didn't work, they'd get in trouble for that too. So I think if the government is on the hook for that, if the government is the one taking the backlash, they likely would be more responsive. But secondly, all the profit that you get from the CEO, the executives of these companies, the sales reps from these companies, all of that extra money that you're paying into those contracts to make sure you're paying people who don't do the construction wouldn't be put into the bid. So I think it would be fiscally more responsible. And likely you'd have a more accountable system. I have the belief that one of our chatters said this a couple weeks ago, but I think it makes a lot of sense. I think the government should be in charge of things that we need, and the free markets can handle the things that we want.
So do you think if that was the case, the feedback from the market, it's quick, right? So prices change, people's wants and needs change, the way they spend their capital changes so quick. It's a
Mhm.
quick signal. Do
Sometimes.
you think yeah, sure. But do you think that the government would be able to read those signals clearly and react quick enough
For
without that profit
for
motive?
potholes?
I just use because everyone goes to the roads and schools examples.
Well,
So I just
I
think
don't think it changes anything, right? Because the government is the one who brings this to the private contractor. The private contractor isn't going, "Oh, there's a pothole, I'm going to go fix it." And by the way, if it was reversed, let's say we take this out of the hands of of the government, right? And we just say private business, you guys can go out and you do this. Well, let's say
sure.
what's to stop then a private business from creating potholes or creating damage?
Well,
Who's go
they
and
would
then
lose
what?
their.
How do
Well,
we like if they go and they fix a pothole? Who pays them? Because like they have to get reimbursed by the government because obviously they're not making any money by fixing the hole in the road. It's not like every time a car drives over where that hole was, they get a penny. Like they have to get
sure.
that money from the government anyway. So this sounds like what we already have.
Now, what if, for example, you live in an HOA
Okay, yeah, I
and
do. There we go.
it's like now I do. I do too as well now. So say um, you decided as a local community in an HOA what your needs were and allocated the funds that way.
Yeah,
Hey, we need X done in our development. We don't really need the state to tell us, you know, what needs to be done. We can decide that as a community
yeah.
locally, like kind of in a decentralized manner.
It's not
Like the reason
decentralized.
I,
HOAs are centralized.
well, everyone votes.
Yeah, and then there's a board generally, right?
Uh-huh.
And the board doesn't, or at least my board, they don't have to take a vote on every single thing that they do. But I can tell you that they don't move quickly.
But
It's just a
would they,
smaller form of government.
right? But
Why
a
do you think
localized
those
one where
HOAs don't just let private businesses come in and decide what to do and when to do it? Why do you think they want that control?
well, because they want control of the pot of money.
Right, so that they can pay their bills efficiently, right? And everybody who's putting in their dues, like I pay quarterly dues to the HOA, I want to make sure
Same.
that my money is being spent in a way that I like, correct?
Yeah, and do you think
How's that different than my city council with my taxpayer money? Isn't that exactly the same thing?
well, I don't know if it's exactly the same thing. And I mean, it's obviously at a larger scale, but I think it's easier to promote the local needs at a smaller level. The representation as you go up kind of loses the signal and gains noise.
Yeah, but so does what they control. Like I'm not worried about Mark Kelly. That's my senator. I would never go to Mark Kelly about the roads in my town. I go here locally. Like local roads. That's all local government.
Okay, well,
It's like that
let's.
already.
I chose roads because that's what everyone defaults to. Let's
Sure.
go. We could try schools,
Okay.
right? So where is the incentive for a teacher in a public school to have their class graduate with high honors?
What do you? Well, I think that's part of the profession. I think that
Well,
this is
now you're assuming the
correct.
incentive of the teacher. You're assuming that they have the populace, the society in mind. Not all do.
Correct.
And I would say
Same
not
with
all,
but same with anybody who's doing something just for money, right? If they're doing it only for money, then we could assume maybe they're going to cheat on the tests, right? Which we do know that happens. Especially, I live in Arizona. We are the king of the charter schools. You know what keeps happening in Arizona? Our charter schools keep getting caught cheating, and our public schools are bleeding money to these charter schools because we've taken public money and we're putting them in charter schools. And you know what's happening? The people who own these charter schools, there's basically nothing that ever affects them. They just keep opening more and more charter schools, and they're making an absolute fortune. Their teachers are also not incentivized. You know who is incentivized? The people who want to open charter schools. And it doesn't matter what the scores are necessarily. And
so you don't think the parents have do you think that the parents blindly go into these charter schools, or do you think they do research beforehand?
I think a lot of times they blindly go into them. A lot of times.
I mean, that's scary I hope that's not the case.
Well,
right?
like for example,
Because
so we have like American Leadership Academy here in the East Valley here, and there's another one I think it's called Heritage. My friend was a teacher there. He taught history. He taught there for 6 years. He makes film, like he's an independent filmmaker. He didn't even have a degree. He taught history at a charter school that was funded by public money without a degree.
I mean, honestly,
He couldn't have done that at a public school, right? He would have had to have.
You would have had to been forced to show your credentials.
So what do you think? Why do you
Regardless
think
of-
they hired him then?
Maybe he has an expertise or a very unique take.
No, they could pay him less. They could pay him less, give him less benefits, and they could keep more money for themselves.
Okay, so then you have public schools which require a degree, yet have declining rates of education. Explain that.
What do you mean by declining rates of education?
So like proficiency tests
Uh-huh.
and graduation rates are declining largely like empirically. So if the solution is simply find the person whose credentials match, we already have that in public schools. They are, bachelors in public education, masters in early, whatever it may be. They have the credentials, yet the results don't seem to, match the credentials. The pay goes up for the teachers via unions, regardless of the outcomes of the students.
Yeah. So I grew up. My mom's a public school teacher.
Nice.
And that's how I grew up. And there's millions of studies. Do you know what the most indicative, characteristic?
Probably the family life.
Yeah, and do you know how much that
accounts?
Yeah, and do you know how much that accounts for? Not the family life, the education at home. Do you know how much that accounts for somebody's success?
Probably large.
Like 95%.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I would say then let's look back. Let's see where these declines are happening, and you go into each, and you can do regional breakdowns. Like the biggest, the sharpest declines in total graduates are California, Illinois, Michigan, New York, and Pennsylvania. That's a lot of people moving. But you would go in then, and you can look at which places are struggling, which places are doing well. It's also important to remember that somehow, I don't know how this has happened, but somehow in this country, the majority of people think that the Department of Education has anything to do with how your kids are educated. They have almost no effect on how your kids are educated. The education that your kids is receiving is on a local level almost entirely, and 95% of that takes place at home. So I look at the education and the population of this country, and I would say this respectfully: Republicans don't know things. The entire belief system is based on feelings. And so that's why I think we're struggling, is that it's not just the Republicans, it's also Democrats, but we just are kind of a lazy people, and parents aren't educating their kids. We rely on schools to teach our kids all this stuff. We rely on the internet to teach our kids this stuff. And then a lot of it's like some of this, the way that we teach and educate is very outdated. We have kids who are developing, people evolve. We're evolving now. ADHD is more prevalent. Most people that study ADHD and autism and OCD, People, they're studying this and they're realizing like this is evolution. People are adapting, and so the way that we used to educate people doesn't work for everybody. I got far more education outside of public education in the schooling that I went to, because like my brain, the way it works is I have to care about something before I do it, and you can't teach somebody to care. So there's a lot of things we could do, but the solution seems on every level to be more local government control.
Now, when you said earlier that it was, I agree that the current Republican take tends to grip on people's emotions, and I think they do take advantage of people's undereducation, like I said, of like in the comment section about the complex system. I do think there is a lack of, understanding of things at that system level. I think the moral hooks are on people currently, and it works.
Okay.
I think social media is an evil tool.
Okay.
Not, I think the way it's employed is the way it's controlled at like the algorithmic level to what information is shown is concerning.
Okay, so to take it back to the argument. Phoenix said private companies are the reason the California hyperrail is 10 years late and billions over cost. That's a good point. Let's take it back to, because you said like, one, I'm not a socialist, but I'm obviously today advocating for the democratic socialists. You said it's a misunderstanding of like complex systems. Do you feel like I don't understand these complex systems
Not
now
you.
after talking? Okay,
No,
so let's
I was responding to some of the comments.
that's fair enough. Now that we're on the same page, that it seems like I do understand these systems. Doesn't it seem like what I'm advocating for is you have to think about motives? Like the motive has to be taking, like for schools, for example, it has to be educating our children and preparing them for the future. And there's a lot of things that like children, it's not just learning. Children need to learn.
Yeah.
They need to learn how they problem solve. There are like the ability to interact with others, to get along with others. That's all important. Like that type of development that you have through your childhood is important. But it's also important that you can afford school. It's important that you be able to go to college. It's important that it's not just wealthy people who can get a good get a good education in this country. Like everybody needs to be able to get that. So
now, historically, you
go ahead.
loan your money from the federal government at a 6% interest rate. Do you find that predatory?
What do you mean? I loan the?
So, like, not you personally. I'm saying, like, if you were to apply for FAFSA, right? You're technically like getting a loan from Great Lakes or what their various lenders.
Yeah, abolish all of that. Abolish all of that.
Now, hey, all right. I
Yeah,
like it.
and then the states, because you said historically speaking, but that's not historically speaking. Like my dad went to a private university, and so did my mom, but it was a really affordable private university. Before my dad went there, he went to a state school, and he went for free because our state paid for that. You could go to in-state schools as long as you had the grades, and it wasn't like a high bar. And if you didn't, like, it was very, very affordable. So before we had all these predatory student loans, where I agree with you, they're predatory, but that is a byproduct of capitalism being pushed into this market. Like you're perfectly describing what happened to our education system. We injected capitalism and it fucked it all up.
Now, if it was a capitalistic thing by nature, right, it would be profit oriented, yet we sit in a huge deficit.
Wait, what?
Capitalism by nature is a positive sum state of mind, meaning it needs to create value.
It doesn't have to. Capitalism fails all the people invest capital, and it fails all the time.
Sure, but I think like you don't go into it with that mindset. You go into it with a positive sum. No one goes into it thinking I'm just going to immediately lose all mine. They think
yeah, but obviously I don't care what But obviously I don't care what the mindset is, right? I just want to see the outcomes.
Well, I mean, if we're looking at outcomes, we're both using extreme pieces of technology that have only been created through profit incentives.
What?
These things that you and I are utilizing right now, this phone, this computer,
Yeah, none of this is actually even possible without heavy government infrastructure spending without a profit motive.
Value. If there was no value, there wouldn't, if there wasn't a profit motive, who would be out there creating have you ever seen how a
wait, you understand wait, but hold on. Profit exists in socialism, right? Like profit is not exclusive to capitalism. You can have profit, you can have businesses, you can make money in socialism.
And where does that profit go?
Wherever you want it to go.
Who decides that?
You do. If you run,
How would I decide where the profit
if you
goes?
own a company and you make profit,
Oh, okay. As an owner, you're saying, okay. Not an investor. You're saying I'm an owner. I decide where the profit goes.
sure.
But in socialism, they want to push the means of production to the workers. So then, who decides where
It's
the
the
profit
ownership
goes?
of the it's the ownership of the product. It just means that workers' labor can't be exploited in the way that it is now. Like we have a
In what
stock
way
market.
is it in what way is it exploited when we're in the most prosperous time in human history?
Well,
I understand to an extent.
I don't know how you're defining. How are you defining most prosperous?
Well, I have a computer that has extreme levels of compute. I live in comfort. My neighbors live in comfort. I understand that's not the reality for everyone, but it can't be. You know, it's not. This isn't utopia.
Right, but then aren't we always going to be living in it? By that definition, aren't we always going to be living in the most prosperous time ever? Because you're just talking about the advent
because
of
you have
technology improving.
ebbs and flows, like in the Great Depression. That wasn't a prosperous time.
No, but you could make
Neither
that
was
same argument
2008.
during the Great Depression. You could make that argument. You could be like, well, remember when in the early 1800s when there was no electricity, there was no automobile, there was no
Right, but what do you
industrial.
What do you
Right.
think? What do you think the incentive was to create those things?
But no, hold on. Let's stay here. I'm trying to help you. The argument that you're making, the reason I'm pointing this out is it's an argument that you can make at every time in history, and it doesn't get to the crux of the debate. And the debate is
What's the crux?
well, the crux of the debate is that capitalism doesn't always work, and neither
Nothing
does
always works.
exactly. And so we have to learn to identify when
This is the best system that we have so far.
that we have as America. I disagree. This is not the best system we've had in America.
I'm thinking global, not even in terms of America, because if you
There
look
is no
at
global system. There's no global system.
the U.S., what is the global reserve currency?
It's the dollar because
Correct. So
because
and where do you get like your electronics from? Like
depends on which electronics. But what does that have to do with?
you know what I'm saying though. It is.
No, I have no idea what you're saying. To be honest.
I mean, I have a TV in my house right now that says "Made in Vietnam."
Great, but like this again, this doesn't mean that we're more prosperous or that it's a better system, right?
How are we not prosperous?
Well, so wealth inequality is at all-time highs right now. You brought up the Great Depression. I think during the Great Depression,
Which was
oh, go ahead.
And what do you think caused the Great Depression?
There were a lot of causes for the Great Depression.
Agreed.
Wealth inequality was massive. Poor use of tariffs, that was massive. The overvaluation of companies being traded. And then significantly, what caused the Great Depression was wealth disparity.
Now, do you think the subsidies provided by the government to those monopolies that were inevitably going to fail had anything to do with it?
Like what monopoly? Which ones are you talking about?
Railroads, the
private businesses. So the government handouts to the rich. Yes, I do think that that's what caused the failure.
I do as well.
Okay, well, that's what we're doing now.
I mean, is it?
Yes.
Where's the handout?
Have you heard of SpaceX?
I love SpaceX, man.
Okay, they're the most. Yeah, where does their revenue come from?
Right now, they honestly don't make very much.
Yeah, but where does their funding come from?
A lot of subsidies.
From who?
Taxpayers.
Yeah, what are you getting out of that?
What do I get? I get technological creation. Like we push us as a society forward with that technology, and
what?
Like there
like what? Give me an example of something that is going to materially make your life better. The SpaceX is doing.
People have internet in places that they didn't previously.
Why does SpaceX have to do that? Why do we have to give money for SpaceX to do that?
Because nobody else can land a rocket.
We those are NASA scientists. We trained all those scientists.
Okay, well then why don't they go do it?
Because we decided to give the money to Elon instead. Because we worship capitalism.
They had 40 years. They had
40 years to do what?
NASA to create these technologies that the private industry has done in
the technology takes time. But you build off the existing technology.
Well,
what do you think? You think if we would have given this to Elon 40 years ago, like he would just be doing like self-landing rockets 40 years ago?
How would you know?
You
You're
wouldn't.
assuming that.
No, you
No,
are.
you're
No, no, no,
assuming.
no.
No,
Wait, hold on. You are. You're
we
assuming
don't
that
know.
they're right,
You
but
don't
you're
know. I
right.
don't know. So
But
I
you
can tell you a better
hold on,
place
hold
of
on, hold
capital
on,
would
hold
be
on,
a more
hold on,
efficient.
hold on. You're making the argument that it's the money that we gave Elon that is making this possible. You're making the claim, not me. You're making the claim that this government spending. Now, I would argue 70. Well, Snap. 70% of people that are on Snap work full time.
How
If those 70%
how
of
does
people
that work?
because we don't pay people enough in this country to live, so people who work full time need government assistance. How could
So
you get rid of the government
so
assistance
what is
there?
the threshold for income for people who receive EBT?
Uh,
What is
it,
the
it
threshold for assets and income?
I don't know, but you can look up that number.
It's an artificial
Hold
ceiling
on,
based
my
on.
friend. Just stick with
Yes.
the topic at hand.
I
How
mean,
could we
you're shifting the
how could we
goalposts a bit.
no, I'm just explaining something. How could we fix that? How could we make it so there were less people on Snap? Less people would have to qualify for it, right?
Well, I
Right? That's the only way to
assuming
do it, right? That's the only way to
I'm
lower it is
trying
less
to.
people have to qualify, right?
I don't know. That could be one way, I
No,
suppose.
that's the only way. And it
Yeah,
depends
but
on
people are going to
and
constantly take advantage of this system if
hold
it
on,
replaces them.
just stay with me. So
Sure.
there's two choices forward here that most people who are voting look at. They have the Republicans who are saying the way to cut SNAP is to stop giving money to people, and those are poor people. And the Democrats are saying the other way that you can do this.
Also, they're not
is,
all poor
hold on,
people because I know people who do take advantage of that system.
are they rich?
I'd say they do quite well.
How do they do that? How do they qualify for SNAP if they're rich?
So they hide their federal income.
Okay, so
and
they commit crimes.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
so
It's a
perhaps we shouldn't be
system that's flawed.
perhaps we shouldn't be making massive cuts to the IRS, right?
I don't know if we should or should. I don't
Probably
know
not.
the
If we
level.
want to catch all these people who are taking advantage, we should probably have IRS agents, right? So the solution there again is more government, more regulation.
Okay. So these people can't afford things. You want
Correct.
to hire more government employees to collect more taxes from the middle class to pay these employees.
No. That would be a
Okay, so
solution
where's
to
the
what
money?
that was a solution. I was explaining that. So the solution is that you go back to a tax policy in this country that we've seen forces a more equal distribution of wealth, where you have a progressive tax system, and at a certain point, you're hitting a top threshold of 70 to 90%.
So you're going to cap the incentive of the highest performers. What do you
Absolutely.
think would happen?
They're not
So
the
what do you
highest.
think-
No. They're not the highest performers. They make the
So
most
the
money.
highest earners.
Jeff Bezos
Okay.
doesn't do a goddamn thing. He's literally retired,
Anymore.
and
Right,
exactly.
anymore.
I know, and he makes more
Do
money.
you order from
And he
Amazon,
hold on. Excuse me. And he makes more money now doing goddamn nothing. Amazon could still exist,
Well, you're
and
saying
Amazon,
nothing while all of these viewers shop on Amazon.
and he does nothing.
Everybody does.
Wait, and he
Now he does, but
correct.
he
So
created
what?
that.
Correct. So why should he keep making hundreds of
Because
billions
he
of dollars?
created it.
I see. This is where we disagree, because the problem is that he's hoarding all of this money. There are people
Okay, well-
working. There are people working their ass off at Amazon. They're not allowed to unionize. They're not getting benefits. They're receiving SNAP benefits. So that means the middle class that you're. Excuse me. Hold on. The middle class that you were just complaining about is actually footing the bill for Amazon not paying people enough money. What should have happened is Jeff Bezos had an idea for Amazon, and it evolved. And Jeff Bezos had rich parents who could keep him afloat. But everybody that worked with Jeff Bezos actually built that company, and the people who actually built
And a lot
Amazon,
of those people
excuse
got
me, I'm almost
wealthy,
done. The people who helped build Amazon should have been included in the profit sharing and in the stocks in a way that was equal to the labor that they provided. And instead, we are operating in a system where Jeff Bezos literally doesn't do anything and
Now he
makes
doesn't,
billions
but
of
did
dollars
something
and makes billions of dollars doing nothing. And if you understand like complex systems like monetary systems, you know that if Jeff Bezos is getting billions of dollars for doing nothing, then that's
where are these
hold on,
billions
let me
coming
explain
from?
it. That's
Bro, you said
billions
you've
of
been
dollars.
close to-
That's I know, just wait. That's billions of dollars that are not circulating the economy, which causes
we're 38
inflation.
trillion in debt, and we're
Which
38
causes
trillion in debt.
inflation. If
And
there
what's
is
that? What is inflation?
inflation, it generally means the cost of everything goes up.
It is another form of a tax on people.
Yes, and that tax is on us because we don't have collective bargaining and we have massive wealth disparity.
No,
So
no.
Excuse me?
No.
Okay, let's figure this out. Let's say you and I.
Okay.
Let's say you and I. We start a town.
But we started a town.
There's $100 million. There's
Letting me speak for 2 straight minutes now. Okay, keep going.
Well, now we're going to speak back and forth. We're starting a town. Okay.
Great.
We get $100 million in some
Awesome.
some
From
money.
where?
Well, we got it from a capitalist. We got it from Jeff
Great.
Bezos. He gave us $100 million.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say that it's just you and I, but we recruit
What
people.
is his incentive to give us $100 million?
Because he wants to make money off this. So
Gotcha. Okay,
he gives
now we're
us
rolling.
$100 million.
Mm-hmm.
And we recruit all these people in this town. We're like, this is going to be an awesome fucking town. You can
How
create
did you recruit these people?
on the internet. We
Gotcha.
AOL Instant Messenger. We hit them with the ASL, and then they're like, cool. And we're like, you want to come to our? So we bring all these people in, and we create this thriving city.
Mm-hmm.
And we look 50 years later at this thriving city. We've built infrastructure, we've built schools, we've built businesses, and there were all these businesses. And eventually, this city is basically just like 4 corporations, and they're all owned by the richest people there. And that $100 million, which you can't go up or down, those 4 people now own $50 million.
So, okay.
So
Keep
with
going.
so the 50 million that's left to circulate, would the buying power of that 50 million be greater if, let's say, those 4 people only had $5 million combined?
Can you reframe the question?
If there's $50 million that is not circulating in the economy, it was a poorly worded question. If there's $50 million that's not circulating in the economy, doesn't that raise inflation?
If there's 50 million not in the economy?
Because it's just those 4 people. They can't even spend that money. So it's not circulating in the economy. It's not going in and out of businesses, right?
People don't hoard capital. Capital is relocated. Like the illusion of these people's wealth is tied up in the stock market, and it's illiquid, honestly, for the most part.
Correct, which increases inflation.
How would that decrease the value of the dollar?
Because you can buy less with the dollar.
Did someone print more from somewhere or something?
It doesn't matter if you print it or if it's
That's what causes inflation.
No. It's the amount in circulation. It doesn't matter if it's
right.
Because look, 50. There's no difference between $100 billion parked in somebody's assets that's on a computer and $100 billion parked in cash sitting in a cave. There's no difference.
How so? How do you not know that that million that's on the computer, or whatever the dollar amount was sitting on the computer, isn't invested in U.S. Treasuries across multiple avenues of investment? I don't know.
Well, U.S. Treasuries is just debt, right? So then that's those same people parking that $100 billion. And they're saying, oh, now that I have this $100 billion, it looks like the United States is struggling to pay their own bills. So I'll go and I'll buy treasury bonds from the United States because I have all this extra money. So now the United States actually has to pay me a return on my investment. So we've created this system where there's people that have hundreds of billions of dollars that they can't.
We've created incentives for capital
only for them.
Relocated.
Only for them, and that
all those people got jobs, didn't they?
Well,
all those people
would people be
buying?
Would people be buying treasury bonds if we didn't have debt?
Well, that's the only way to. That's how you issue.
Okay, so if you were trying to create a system where you got an infinite money loophole, wouldn't you create a system where you get to keep all of your money and the government can't pay their bills and they go into debt, and then because you have so much money that you get to fund the government's debt? And then you're going to get 3 to 6% interest on the government's debt, but you have all this money. The government is what allowed you. They set up this whole system. They let you write all the tax laws, and now you have $100 billion, and now you're financing the debt because the government chose to give you tax breaks instead of paying their bills.
I don't know where you're going. Okay, so what
do you mean you don't know where I'm going with that? What do you mean? We have $38 trillion in debt. That debt is mostly serviced by foreign countries and rich people.
It wasn't printed? It wasn't artificially created by the Federal Reserve?
It was artificially created, but not always printed.
I use print colloquially.
I know.
You
That's
know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we agree. The same. Elon Musk doesn't have $900 billion.
Correct.
But that $900 billion existing creates inflation.
Where did it come from? Right?
It came from crony capitalism. Like Tesla's stock price is like $400. I'll explain it. I'll explain where his wealth came from.
The stock market is a public.
I know. I'm just going to explain it. Tesla's stock price is worth like $400 ish, right?
Sure.
Do you know what GM's is?
I know. Is it like $30 or $40? I
Somewhere,
haven't checked GM.
yeah, between like 30 and 50. Which of those two companies makes more money?
I would imagine that GM. I would imagine GM does.
It's like 10 to 15 times.
Gotcha.
So
No,
why
but
is Elon?
now-
So why is Tesla stock worth 10x?
Because the technology that they create far supersedes GM's legacy
But it's not leading
software.
to profit, right?
Currently, I don't know. It is some profit. I don't.
No.
I don't know what
Their
the
profit
PE
is
ratio-
GM has 10x their profit. Shouldn't GM stock be 10x the price of Tesla?
No, because the stock market's forward looking, and if you have something, if you have something that's looking at, like, if you're looking at a piece of technology and you see something that's dated that can't keep up with current times, it's not going to be valued.
Has GM ever
as
not
much.
kept up with current times?
Have you ever been in a GM vehicle versus a Tesla?
Yeah.
Dog, it's night and day.
Yeah, the GMs are better. Teslas are dog shit. What are you talking about?
Okay. In what capacity?
I went and tested. I have an electric vehicle. I tested I went and test drove a bunch. Tesla was the worst one by far.
I think you're implementing your own bias to that because
Well,
their
the
software
markets
features
agree with me. Everywhere where Tesla is
No,
forced
they
to compete,
don't. How
everywhere
does the market agree with you if their valuation is 15
because
times whatever you
everywhere
just said it is?
Tesla is
The
forced.
market has spoken, sir.
Because everywhere
the market,
Tesla.
the decentralized
Hold
market
on,
has spoken
I'm
and has
explaining.
spoken
You're
over-
talking about the stock market, not the market for
Yes.
their vehicles, right? You're talking about two different things. I'm talking about the market
which
for their
includes
vehicles.
more things than
Okay,
vehicles.
just
They
listen.
include
Just listen to the rest of it. Okay.
I know I have to listen to you for a long time.
Well, you don't know what to disagree with if you don't listen to the claim here. The claim is that everywhere Tesla is
You
forced.
likewise.
You haven't. No, I've been listening to your claims. Everywhere
Oh, me
Tesla,
too.
brother,
See
get
how
it,
it goes?
get it together.
I'm perfectly together. I'm
Okay.
implementing the same. I'm mimicking your behavior right now, and
All
it's
right.
not. It's not a two-way street currently.
Okay. So Tesla, everywhere that they are
Okay.
forced to compete against Chinese manufacturers, how do they do?
Well, you bring up Chinese manufacturers. Let's use BYD as an example, right?
Perfect.
Heavily state subsidized, and they implement slave labor. How do you get costs down that low? You implement forced labor. It's easy.
Quantify that. Which of their plants requires forced labor?
Brazil. They actually shut one down because Brazil authorities went on site and did a audit, and they found that forced labor conditions were
It sounds
happening,
like
and they actually.
It sounds like Brazil is the problem there.
Well, the imported workers were from China. Everything was imported from China.
Yeah, and it was slavery-like conditions, right?
Yeah, that's why the Brazilian government shut their manufacturing plant.
And you don't. And where Tesla, they manufacture all their parts here.
No, there's no way.
Okay, so Tesla doesn't take advantage of those
They
types
might,
of
but you're-
conditions.
but
Okay.
I don't know if they do or don't, but you're assuming that, and I'm giving you empirical evidence that BYD did.
Yeah, but well, you're giving me evidence that in one plant in Brazil there was 163 workers, and you're saying that that's why their vehicles outperform Tesla.
In what performance metric?
The top of the line BYD vehicles are miles ahead of Tesla. Their self-driving is better because Tesla. Yeah, I have. Yes, I have, and it far
Where do you
superior.
think they got some of those features from? Does any of them look just like the ones that you test drove in your Tesla? They look awfully similar to me.
No, they don't. They didn't. They looked more like I drive a Kia. They looked far more like my Kia than Tesla.
BYD looks like Kia.
It looks closer to Kia than Tesla for sure. Yeah, but
that sounds like an inferior product.
What does?
Kia.
Kia's I chose a Kia over Tesla. It's way better.
I mean, that's your opinion, and you're free to express that, but
yeah, but it's also the opinion of it's
that.
also
You're not going to be able to quantify.
You can actually you can because we were looking at like
metric. Use a metric, any metric. Bring a data point. What do you got?
Well, I don't really. We can do this another time because I'd like to stay on capitalism. I don't want to get into like Tesla versus Kia, if that's okay with you. But I did my research, and you can disagree with that research. However, getting all the way back. Why does how did Tesla get to where they are? Was it capital investment?
Technology innovation and data accumulation.
Why do you think Tesla's Let me ask this question. Ask a better question then. Why do you think Tesla's sales dropped after Trump cut their subsidies?
Because you can't get the tax break anymore.
Sounds like we funded Tesla's rise. What do we get out of that?
We get technological innovation.
Couldn't we have that anyways?
No, not without a motive. Not without a
So we
proper
have to
incentive.
fund. So we have to fund somebody like
fund
Elon.
everything.
We have to fund somebody like Elon Musk in order. So we have to pay our taxpayer money to Elon Musk. Who? Hold on.
You're
So let
boiling.
me
Hold on,
just
hold
ask.
on. You're
I haven't
boiling
answered
Tesla-
the. I haven't
boiling
asked the
Tesla-
question yet.
You're
I
boiling
haven't
Tesla
asked.
down to one
I haven't
human
asked
being.
the
There's
question
thousands
yet.
of workers.
I
You
haven't
don't
asked
have
the
to.
question yet.
There's thousands of workers within Tesla.
I haven't
It's
asked
not
the
one
question
man.
yet. Haven't asked the question yet. You're responding too early. Tesla doesn't exist without government subsidies. So we have to fund.
Nor workforce.
Great. So Tesla doesn't exist without a workforce and government subsidies. And this is your argument for capitalism, right?
Neither does GM. GM's
Right?
gone, bro.
Right?
Didn't we not? Did we bail out GM or no?
Yes. But can you answer the question about Tesla?
Well, ask it again.
Does Tesla exist without government subsidies in the way that it exists now?
Likely at a far smaller scale with less technological advancement.
Right. So here's what I would propose. I would propose that we do it more like China. What China does with BYD, and you take it as a criticism. China gives a bunch of money to BYD, and then they get a return on that investment because that's smart
They get
investing.
ownership of the company.
Right, a return on the investment, and they use that money that they get back from their investment to fund other things like education and
So
other
you think that
future
they're free
investments.
to
So
choose
I'm
what
almost
they
done.
invest
I'm
in?
almost done. So I think when we give money to Tesla, we should get
They're free
something
to
back.
choose what they-
I think we should get something back for the money
We
because I'm
do.
a savvy investor. I would like a return on that investment.
Well, if you were an investor in Tesla's IPO, you'd be up 15 times.
But I'm
No
an
problem. There you
investor
go.
in Tesla's infrastructure, and I didn't get dick for that. So don't you think we should get something for that?
I think you should
You're a
make better
capitalist.
investments. I think you should make better investments. With
So
your
we shouldn't have
capital.
invested
I
in
did-
Tesla.
I
So the
did an
country,
IPO and I've
the
done
country should
extremely
not
well.
have. So the country should not have invested in Tesla.
Who said that? You?
You said make smarter investments. I did. I did invest in Tesla, and I got nothing
I
back.
bought Tesla at IPO and I did very well.
I know, but I invested in their infrastructure. I got nothing back.
I'm
So
sorry you misallocated your capital. There's tons.
I
of
didn't do it. The
options out
government
there.
did. But I think the government should demand a return on that investment. Why do you not think the government should have a return on investment?
Because the government doesn't have our best interests in mind. You
Whose
assume that
interest
the
do they have
state
in
is-
mind?
Their own.
Their
These
own?
bureaucrats and
Well, who's
yes,
who's their?
bureaucrats
What do you mean their own?
The bureaucrats and politicians rely on to keep their job.
The
right?
bureaucrats.
Yes.
Who are the bureaucrats?
All of the elected politicians. How do they keep their job?
They get voted in.
And how do they maintain their job?
They get voted in.
If you want to boil it down to a mundane level, yes, they do get voted.
Well,
in. Do you
what's
think
the
there's
answer?
Do you think there's a performance metric tied to that? Do you think
No.
that you think these bureaucrats are acting in your self-interest?
No,
or
they're
their
acting
own
in Elon Musk's interest, which is why we gave Elon Musk billions of dollars and we didn't get fucking anything for it. You're making my
So now
argument.
you're sa-
We should
okay,
get
so now
something for
you're
that.
saying so now you're saying these bureaucrats are tied to these corporations. They
Yep.
don't have our self-interest in mind. Yet
Yep.
you want to give them more power.
Nope.
That's insane. That's
Wrong.
insane.
I want that.
You want the state to have an investment level.
No, they
in
already.
private
Wait, hold on,
corporations.
my friend. They already have the power to invest in Tesla. I want to force them to tie that investment to a return. I want them to.
And
I
where does
want
the
to.
return go?
Oh.
Where does
I
the
want.
return go?
The return goes into the government coffers, and it could pay for things like healthcare and education and roads,
okay.
or paying down our debt. There are things that the government does really,
So
really
education.
well.
Let's talk about education.
Let's
because
do.
the public has not. Public hasn't gotten a very good education. Despite all these things you're saying, they have ownership. They get all these. Education is not.
Which state is last in education? Do you know?
I'm unsure. At what level?
Take a guess.
Oh, what level of education are you talking?
K through 12.
I'm unsure.
Oh, it's Oklahoma. Who's 49th?
If I didn't know the last one, why would I know the next?
Arizona. Do you know what those two have in common? Per capita, they have more charter schools than any other state.
So you're blaming charter schools.
100%.
You're blaming.
Yeah, there's a reason red states suck at education.
There's 48 other states.
Yeah, and the red states are the worst, and the blue states are the best because the blue states spend more money on it and they invest more
Either
heavily
way,
in public education, and red states keep trying to give this away to rich people.
unfortunately, no matter who's in charge, they have their own incentives that it's not aligned to the personal level. You may state your beliefs.
Great,
and
so
you
let's
may
align
think
it.
that this-
So
Bro,
let's
you
make it
keep cut-
aligned.
Bro, you keep cut. I've been listening this whole time, and you cut me off constantly. I've been listening. I've been patient.
With all due
You keep
respect, we
cutting me
both
off.
cut each other off. I'm saying,
Fair
why don't
enough.
we align our values then? Why don't we say, why
There's-
don't we force
who-
the government to be aligned?
Because you want your aligned values.
Why
I
don't you
say
want?
let everyone decide what they want individually.
That's
The
not
state does
possible.
not have. Do we not vote?
You can't all get what you want individually.
No. Individually as a collective, the majority will decide.
Correct. And I'm trying to
Decentralized.
get you to join the majority that says when our government gives money to private businesses, they don't get to just keep all the revenue from that. They should be forced to share that revenue with the people who invested. Like, no, there's no capitalist is
Why
going to
do you
go.
want
No
state-
cap.
why do
Excuse
you
me.
want
No
state
capitalist.
reform?
Excuse me. No capitalist is going to go in and invest in a company and just be like, yeah, it's cool if I get no return on this.
No one would.
So why? How are you a capitalist that's arguing against a return on investment right now?
I'm not arguing against a
Okay, then
return on
join me and
investment.
demand that when our government gives these companies subsidies, that those companies be required to share those profits with the government who
Buddy.
gave them the money.
The state nor the federal level has your prosperity first.
I know they
their-
have theirs. That's why I'm trying to align
Yes.
it with mine. I want them
No
to
matter what
align
we
with
do
me.
have-
I want them to align with all of us. If they're collectively going to use
But you're
our
saying
money,
all of it.
then we all collectively should benefit from that, not just
won't
Elon
all.
Musk or not just Jeff Bezos. We should all collectively share in those profits if we're investing our money.
Sir, I benefited from Tesla too, not just Elon. And there was hundreds of thousands of other people just like myself.
Listen, my
It's
friend.
not just one man.
My friend, I keep saying the same thing over and over, and you keep missing it. I think that if you, as a capitalist, think that you like that capitalism is so great, then why are you not okay? Then when the United States government uses capital funded by us, why should the United States government be the only people who don't get a return on that investment?
You're saying the United States government doesn't get a return on its investment.
Correct.
What do you think? Do you think that Starlink was used for entirely private purposes, or do you think it was used by the government?
The government
at
paid
some
for that.
point
So we
during
pay
time?
for the infrastructure and then we pay a subscription. At what point did Starlink give the government money?
They're using their services, though.
Are capitalists okay with that? It's okay. I'll give you $100 million. I don't need any return on that money value-wise. I just need to know that at my cabin,
We
I
just
can
wanna
get
use your
internet now.
services because capital to
That would
us
be a
is
bad
relative-
investor, right? You'd be a shitty investor if you kept giving money to people and you didn't demand a return, right?
You're confused. You're confusing. things,
Right, though?
because you're-
Right? You'd be a shitty
I didn't
investor
hear-
if you kept giving people money and said, I don't want a return on this. That'd be stupid,
Yeah.
right? So why is it
I-
not
you wanna
stupid when the government does it?
They do get something in return,
What?
though. And
What?
they get to use their services. They've
Okay, but you
utilized-
just said that no smart investor would invest just to be able to use the services. They want a
No, I
return.
didn't say that. I
on-
did not say that.
Okay, so you think a
didn't-
lot of investors then
You
would
get
like
s-
that's what you think
a
investors
lot
are
of
investing for.
companies- A lot of companies, do not make a lot of profit yet provide services to people.
Okay.
So it's not all a one way. It's not just a one size fits all.
I'm just
thing.
asking you why you think the government should not share in the profits when we fund that business.
Because then you take the control out of the individuals of the company and you put control into a state enforced.
No, you don't. You just share in the profits.
I wish it was that kind of, and it is a
What do you mean
fairly
it-
naive.
What do you mean?
I wish it would work like that. I
It
wish
does work
everything
like
would
that.
be-
That's exactly how it would work.
Maybe in utopia, sir.
What do you mean maybe in utopia? You don't think the government already has control over these businesses through things like the FTC, the FAA, the FCC, the SEC, the Food and Drug Administration? We already have control over these companies. Yes, to an extent. So we should also make fucking money back. We should also get our money back, and we should use the money that we gave them so they could
got my
become
money
rich
back.
to pay for
I
our
got my
stuff.
money.
No,
I-
we.
I got
No.
my-
We, the investors.
Who's we?
The taxpayers that invested.
Oh, And okay, well then they invest in a lot of other things too. That
Exactly,
don't
and we should
derive
get dividends for those.
No, bro.
Oh
And
no,
where would that
capitalism's bad if the government does it.
And where would that money go? Where would the dividends go?
To fund education and roads
And where,
and
okay,
health care.
Okay, and do you think that money would be efficiently spent by the government?
Yes.
No, it wouldn't, bro.
The government,
You know
it spends money more efficiently than the private market on many things.
True, 38 trillion in debt. You're right.
That's not an efficiency problem. That's a problem on
Oh,
we don't.
not true. 38 trillion is not
Well,
an efficiency problem.
Well, let's just talk about the government program. What government what does the private what private sector that mimics a government sector is run better by the private sector? Just name one.
Give me some
healthcare.
Direct to consumer pharmaceuticals is far cheaper than the
Health care,
subsidized.
health insurance. Sorry, health insurance.
Okay. I think that if maybe in a private marketplace without
We have a private marketplace.
it's not truly private though.
What's not
And
truly
then-
private about it?
So have you ever seen the way that doctors or small practices build the insurance companies? Do you think that they put the minimum value, or do you think that they extend
How does this make them?
value?
How does this make the insurance companies not private?
Do you want to answer the question or no?
You're answering my question, and I'm trying to figure out how this isn't answering my question.
Because restate your question, then and I'll answer it, and you can ignore.
Where do we find a confluence of a government program and then a private sector option that runs the same type of program where the private sector does better?
Your brother in the roads.
My brother in the roads.
Yeah, you said your brother works.
No,
for a
the
road
government
maintenance
doesn't
team.
do construction. We already covered this. So it's private sector does that. So you have to take, that's why we chose
Okay,
health
so the
insurance,
Department
because
of
the government,
Transportation,
hold on,
that's
this is why we chose health insurance, because health insurance is provided by the government and there's also a private sector component. So this is a good opportunity for us to compare and say which one, number one, which one does better by the people paying for it? Two, which one is more effective? Which one gets better returns? This is a great opportunity to decide which one is better.
I've had vastly better service in a private insurance sector. And I have two insurances.
Have you been on Medicare?
I have not, but my parents are.
So you have no experience with that?
I just said my parents are.
Okay, so the outcomes,
So
have you compared the outcomes with Medicare patients for private insurance patients?
Yeah, the care is far better on the private end.
That's incorrect. It's the exact opposite of that. It's actually better with Medicare. What about the cost?
Okay.
What about the cost?
Well, before we go there, how about you explain how they're better, and where did you derive that opinion from?
Pull up the study.
A study? Yeah, me too.
Do you have a study? I said I'm
With you?
pulling up the study. Yeah, I said I'm going to pull up the
Okay, cool.
study.
Perfect.
Have you ever looked at one? Or is it just that your parents had it and you have private health insurance? So we're clear here.
I have two forms of insurance, so.
That's not an answer to my question.
Well, you're asking me, do I have experience? Like, I know I haven't personally submitted a claim or used Medicaid myself, but I know people who have. And
I know, but I'm asking for a study, like, because I'm going to pull up a study, right? So I'm just wondering, is your opinion just based on what you think, or have you read studies?
No, experience from probably 20 plus people.
What was the experience that was different?
They got far better care, quicker care, and more efficient.
No,
care in
insurance
private.
companies don't provide care. Try again.
Okay.
They don't. They write a check to the people who provide the care.
I understand that, but you
Okay.
get what I'm saying.
No, I don't. That's why I'm asking more questions.
The system that's implemented via the private service provides a more efficient service to the people. They can get to the doctor.
How would we
quicker. They
measure
can
that?
get-
So wait times? So do you want to
Wait
compare wait
times?
times?
Sure. Mortality rates in surgery. How quick?
Okay, let's go to wait times first.
Sure. I mean, that's an obvious one.
It is? What's the wait
Sure
time for
is.
somebody who doesn't have private health insurance?
I could tell you when I didn't have private health insurance, it was about 3 months to get seen.
Okay, so why was it 3 months? What would it have been if you had private health insurance?
About a week. It takes me about a week to get seen now.
Okay, did you know that there's multiple studies? You can go look at Center for American Progress, and they've done studies on this, and there is virtually no difference between.
Have you ever been to Canada? Ask about the wait times in universal healthcare.
Do you know who's
systems.
number
Ask
one
about
in wait times in the whole world? In the developed countries that have like a developed healthcare system, you know who's number one?
I can go. I can tell you it's not Canada. I can.
No,
tell
no,
you
longest wait times. You know who's number one?
I have no idea.
I'll give you a clue. It's Canada. You know
Yeah,
who's
that's what I'm-
you know who's two?
I have no idea.
Us.
Okay, so you're saying
You know
that
what?
the
And
universal,
but every other country that does it better than us has single payer healthcare.
who does it better than us? Why do people come here for
Literally, the
healthcare?
entire UK does it better. All of Scandinavia does it better. Our
in
outcomes are
what
ranked.
regard?
Our outcomes are ranked in the 20s. Our infant mortality is
Now-
lower than
now-
theirs. Our maternal mortality is lower than theirs. Our life expectancy is lower than theirs. There is not a single measure where the United States is better than any of these other countries, except for two, and it is wait times and it is total cost, where we're ranked number one. We are not. We have a terrible healthcare system. Terrible.
So I lived in Canada, and
It doesn't matter. I'm not advocating for Canada's healthcare system. They don't do single payer Medicare for all. There's different types of universal healthcare. I'm not advocating for one like Canada's.
Gotcha. Now these studies, I don't know what I don't know what all. Did they just look at the private side of healthcare, or did they implement both sides into their data?
In every way in this country, like
And you could see if they're combined how the outcomes could be skewed.
Medicare recipients and VA recipients, places where the government pays the check for them, you usually get better outcomes. You get a much more bang for your buck. Yes, you do. You just do.
In the VA, it
Yes.
is not. I
Yes.
promise you. I come from there. It is not. And
You can't just say I
understand
promise you. Cite a source.
You can call any one of my veteran friends.
That's not a source. How would they know the outcomes of everybody? They call everybody that gets care from the
'Cause you can
VA,
get firsthand-
and then
you can get
did
firsthand
they
experience.
perform a study where they then compared that against the outcomes of private? Excuse me, just engage for a second. You understand what you're
Sure.
saying here is silly. Your friends did not conduct a study comparing the outcomes of private health insurance versus
they
the VA.
lived it.
These are all
They
just
lived it.
anecdotal stories.
I could tell. Well, if you compare people's real life experiences as simply anecdotal, I'm sorry.
There's 40
Because it's
40 million
real.
people in this country that don't have health insurance. You don't think that having the VA is better than that?
I don't.
Okay. Veterans treated at VA hospitals have a lower 30-day mortality rate for major surgeries and as much as 40% lower risk compared to those treated in private
Well, hey,
sector
you got
hospitals.
is there any veterans in the chat? Chime in.
Did you hear what I just said?
Veterans in the chat, chime in.
Did you hear what I just said? Stop asking for stories. You can go to the VA's. You can go to va.gov.
Any veterans in here? Tune in.
What are you doing?
Let this guy know.
What are you doing? Why are you ignoring what I'm saying and talking to the chat? va.gov on the government website is citing their study saying that VA hospitals have lower 30-day mortality rates and 40% lower risk compared to people treated in private sector hospitals. Can you address that?
I don't know the study. I don't know what it's derived from. I get that you cherry picked a particular study that would
From the VA? The va.gov?
Yeah, I don't. If you've ever been in a VA system, you wouldn't necessarily immediately go to the site and trust the first source you see.
I'm not trusting the first source I see. I'm seeing multiple doctors here. I'm seeing multiple studies.
So what do you think that?
But
the VA site
don't tell me what to study or what to trust when you're like, I talked to some people.
Yeah, I lived it.
Yeah, you
You're
don't
right.
even have
I
a
should-
no.
I
You
shouldn't
didn't live
talk.
it.
What
You
the heck
talked
would-
to some
what do I
people.
know? I lived it. Yeah,
You
what do
didn't live
what do
it.
I
You
know?
talked to some people.
I was okay. I was in for 6 years.
Okay, tell me about how did you do the comparison then when you ran this study?
Because I've been to multiple bases. I've been to multiple bases throughout the world, and I hear what people say, man. Like I see it.
I don't
see it
care.
firsthand. I
That
worked it.
doesn't. But
I'm sure you don't care, and I'm sure you would.
well,
rather
but you
use a
understand that
study-
this is silly, right? Because we can't verify any of this. So I'm using I'm using actual studies, and you're like, but I've heard. And this is why
No,
America
you're
is
saying
stuck.
that I heard. You're
This is why
reducing what
America is stuck with the healthcare. This is why
you're reducing my experience down to something that I simply heard.
Well, I asked you.
wasn't- I heard.
I asked you
I
how
lived
you did the comparison between private.
Because I was there.
Jesus
I
Christ!
lived
Hey,
it.
brother, I haven't asked the fucking question yet. Wait till the
that's
end of the question. Okay, what's my
Hey, I
question I'm
didn't-
asking?
I haven't cursed. I haven't.
Oh, I
cursed
curse
yet.
all the time. You need to deal with that. I curse.
That's not very respectful.
I don't give a fuck. I curse. It's
Sure
fine.
you don't.
Okay. Do you know what's my question?
I don't even know.
Okay, so this time wait till the end of the question, okay? When you
yes, sir.
say that you've experienced it, I'm assuming that what you did is you took private health insurance and you compared it to the VA reimbursing you for the treatment, right?
No, I got treatment at VA hospitals on base.
And then you compared that to the same treatment you got at a private hospital.
And scale too, because I've been to multiple.
So that's what I'm saying. So what's
me.
the treatment that you got at the VA hospital and the treatment that you got at the private one, and how was it different?
I'm not really comfortable saying what I got, but I've like from firsthand experience, I was seen quicker. And but you want me to tell my medical issues? Like, it's not cool, man.
Yeah, I do. Well, why are you going to a private health insurance? Why are you going to a private doctor if you had insurance through the VA? Why are you not?
Because
why are you going?
Because I get better care.
Who paid for it?
I do.
So you paid for it out of pocket on your military salary.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it was better. So you didn't use private health insurance. So now you're comparing. Wait, hold on. So now you're comparing the VA to no insurance, and we're supposed to be comparing
I got
private insurance.
on my.
No, you said you just paid for it.
Yeah, I paid for the private insurance myself, and then I went and got seen myself.
So the government gave you insurance, and then you bought private insurance on top of that.
I tried going to get seen with the government insurance, and it didn't work for me.
Okay. Wait, what?
Here, pop real fast. We've got. If you want to check some messages, we've had some stuff come through. And I just want to remind everybody that during these conversations, we can forget, but we are crowdfunded, so we still need to knock out that gift goal. So Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats. Thanks.
Yeah, we could go back to the point. So this is a JAMA surgery. This was a study from 2018, from January 1st, 2015 to December 31st of 2018. And they compared data for 4.6 million operations between the VA and private hospitals. So obviously that's a much bigger pool to compare than your experience. So I would probably lean on that. And the study found that VA surgery patients had a 40% lower adjusted risk of 30-day mortality, and that they had, what was the other? Let me scroll down. And they had a lower 30-day mortality rate and 40% lower risk compared to those treated in private sector hospitals. So 4.6 different surgeries compared, and they found that 40% lower risk and a lower 30-day mortality rate.
And I'm happy for those people that it works, but it simply didn't for me. It's great that it
okay,
did.
but see, this is the problem that we have in America, is that you are willing to double down on anecdotal experience, and this is why.
Right, because it's my individual.
And this is
like,
why. We're making this point. This is why our insurance is double the price, and we don't have good outcomes. We have the most expensive, shitty insurance on planet Earth.
I've gotten great care through my private insurance. That's my experience.
I know, and that's a silly thing to do, to just say that when the data is against you, right?
I could.
Just kind of dumb.
I'm so.
You understand that's a dumb way to form your opinion, right?
Maybe there's others who had the same experience as me, and why would you negate their experience?
I don't negate their experience
because why would you implement this overview reach that you have? Like, you want to implement these things on people.
Because my friend, the way that data works is that the more data you have, the more accurate the results are going to be. And so you could give me 20 of your friends, and you have 20 examples, and they're anecdotal, and like your story, they probably won't include any specifics. Or I can look at,
if you want to talk privately about,
I wasn't done yet. Wasn't done yet. I'm going to keep going.
Okay. Oh, me too.
Or I can look.
You want to talk privately about my medical.
Wasn't done.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Or
that's how you want.
Yeah. Or I can look at a study that has 4.6 million data points, which is going to give me a far more accurate understanding of what's happening versus your anecdotal experience, right?
It may. That's true. It may.
Yeah. So that's why I believe that.
In that very niche data selected area.
Why would you believe your personal experience over that data?
Everyone should believe their own personal experience.
No, because your personal experience is not indicative of everybody's personal experience. That's silly.
You should. So you want me to conform to your data based on not my experience, but this.
For an argument, yes. You should use the best available data when making an argument of which of these two sectors is better.
Unfortunately, the data didn't work for me, my friend.
You didn't look at the
did not
data.
work.
You just learned it the first time today.
Yeah, I learned it when they messed my first surgery up, and I had to go get it fixed. It sucked.
Yeah, that doesn't make a difference, bud.
Well, that's my experience. I don't
I
know.
know, and so you're choosing your own personal experience to make it so that like we can't have a better system. There's too many people like you. First of all, I'm 99% sure you're lying. You said a lot of things like that you went to like VA hospitals on military bases, which don't exist. And then you mentioned the VA at military bases like overseas. That also doesn't exist. So you've lied about a couple of things that like for sure are lies. I don't believe that you had a surgery from the VA that was then corrected. If I'm wrong, I apologize. It just like your story doesn't really check out. But you're doing this and this is like American arrogance at its best. Like the data is overwhelming on my side, and you won't accept that
But
data.
you have no experience.
I have more.
You
Listen, brother. I've been doing this for years. The amount of studies I've read, and the amount of research and the amount of research I've done into our medical system trumps yours. And no, your anecdotal evidence. And even if I did, have experience, and even if I had experience where I had gone to both, I'm not done talking. You can go
that's right.
Yeah,
You're
just
the
wait
only
till
one
the
that
end. Just wait till the end of the sentence.
Yes, sir. I will listen to you, sir.
Thank you. Even if I did have
That's how
experience,
you want it, huh? You don't want other people to talk. You want to talk. You want to tell other people what to think and do. But it's the individual thoughts.
Even if I had the experience,
and I had the decency to let you speak.
Excuse me. You interrupted me to complain about your feelings. Even if I had the experience you'd had, where I had gone to the VA and they fucked up my surgery, and then I went to a private hospital and they fixed it, that would still not be better evidence for me personally than the actual data. The data is better because it is giving me 4.6 million different data points. So I would believe that over my experience.
Well, you have no experience.
But if I did, I would use that over my experience. Now, can you explain why you would trust your experience over 4.6 million individual data points that had the same experience you did?
They had the same experience that I did?
Yeah, they were comparing between a VA and a private hospital. And we were looking at mortality rates and recovery.
I can't know what those people went like. How can I possibly know that?
Because there's a study, and you can read the data from the study.
Well, I would far rather let people speak for themselves.
I know, but I'm asking you why that should be better proof. Like, why would you think that's better proof?
Because decentralization is always better than some central authority.
What?
Because the decentralization.
Decentralization of what?
The thoughts and opinions. Like everyone's opinion should matter. Everyone's own personal.
These are recovery times. It's not thoughts and opinions. These are recovery times. These are like the way you figure out a mortality rate is did they die? Pretty easy to tell.
Also,
a lot of times when people die, they stop breathing. And
you know what I didn't know actually? I didn't know that the VA that the hospitals on base weren't VA. I didn't know that until now.
Cool. We get back to this part though. Like this is mortality rate, bud. You think that like your personal experience is more important than how if you go to a private hospital versus the VA, which one are you most likely? Hold on. Just wait till the end of the question. Which one are you most likely to die within 30 days from? And it's a private hospital. 40% more likely.
That's unfortunate.
But since you didn't die, you'll just keep risking it with the more risky private hospitals, right?
I would rather I will do what worked for me, man, and everyone
right.
else.
Yeah. So right. So what worked for you that one time
may not necessarily work for everyone else.
So now you're going to ignore the data that says you're better off going to the VA hospital because of your experience.
I'm not ignoring it. I'm telling you, in this.
No, now that you know it, I'm asking you now that you know it. When you have the choice, what are you going to do?
I would have to feel it out. I'm like I would.
How would you come to that decision when you felt that out?
I would have to go to the doctor individually and then, make sure it's a fit.
How would you decide if it was a fit?
Through the appointments and the care plan and what they
But like, what
outline
would
for
you
the
ask to
recovery.
make sure it's a good fit?
I would listen more and
Would you ask them what the chances of you living are? Like, what are the chances of 30 days from now of me being alive? Would you ask them that?
depends on the surgery because
Some surgeries you wouldn't ask. Okay.
I mean, you're convoluting some things.
Okay, let's
but
take
sure.
one that there's a chance of death. Wouldn't
Sure.
you want to know if the private hospital has a higher survival rate than the VA?
Yeah, I would.
How would you get those numbers?
I would ask the doctor, I assume.
Where do you
hope
think the
that they
doctor would get those numbers from? Do you think it would be from a collection of stories he was told, or do you think it would be from a study?
Maybe from his own experience. I don't
You
know.
think that's what
I
he would
don't know
do?
how
You don't
they
think he would cite the study? The study? You think he would just say my personal experiences?
Oh, it would certainly benefit him to cite the study, but I don't know.
So why doesn't it benefit you or me in this discussion?
Because every experience is individualized.
All right, let's say your doctor now comes into the room and he says, listen, there's 4.6 million, there's a study, there were 4.6 million people, and they had a 40% higher chance of surviving this surgery at VA hospitals than the private ones. And you're like, oh man, I'll do the VA. And he goes, but wait, hold on a minute. Would it help you to know that I had a better experience at the private one and some of my friends who I've talked to also had a better experience? And you'd be like, how many
If I
friends?
had
And he's
10
like, I don't know,
people-
like 20. Would that be enough
If
for
I
you
had
to
20
would you accept that as an argument? You'd be like, never mind, I'm going private now. Thank you for your stories about your
if I had
friends.
your- I think if I had 20 people went to the same doctor and had a successful surgery, I think I would feel okay.
That's not what I said. 20 people that went to private hospitals versus 4.6 million. You would say, I'm gonna go with the opinion. And by the way, you can't talk to any of these people because it's just the doctor telling you this is the case. How would you know that the doctor isn't just trying to funnel people to that
Hey.
private hospital to get a kickback?
I got a call. I missed like a portion of what you said.
I think, if we're being honest, I just think at this point you're arguing not to admit that you're wrong, because you would never trust the anecdotal stories of the doctor
I would
over
definitely
that study. You
I
never
would
would.
definitely I would take all data points into consideration.
And then how would you make
but
your
I wouldn't-
decision?
I would have to consider all.
Okay,
different
right
things.
now
I
you
wouldn't-
have to
I wouldn't-
decide. All right, right now here's what we know. The doctor had 20 friends who had a good experience at a private hospital. There's a study that says you're 40% more likely to die if you go to the private hospital than the VA. And there's 4.6 million individual actions in that study. Now you have to choose. Are you going to the VA hospital or are you going to the private one?
Not sure yet because
What
mean,
what
it's
other
easy.
information do you need to make that decision?
I'd probably go to a few doctors and get a feel for what they're like.
How would that help?
Are you kidding me?
At the hospital,
you
you
ever
think you're
been-
going to be able to go interview the surgeon at the hospitals?
How do you think I found the one I wanted?
I don't think you went and
go make
interviewed
an
them.
I go make an appointment. Then if you want to call it that, it's semantics. Interview is appointment. That's the point of it. You go in
And then
and you talk.
and then he's
and
going to
you make-
say, I do great work.
Sure, and then I'll go. And
What
do
if they
my
both?
research
Okay, the
and-
VA says that, and so does the doctor at the private office. Now, how do you decide?
I have to do additional research. I would,
What additional
no, I'd
research
have-
would you do now?
I would try. I would call the doctor and ask additional questions.
You already did that. You already talked to the doctors at both, and they both said you're good. Now what?
Okay, now I'm picking the private one because you'd have a
Why?
better. He would have more because he would have more incentive to complete a successful surgery.
Why?
Because in so like in
This
the,
is
in the
this is
VA,
a tough argument here because he already has a worse record. Like his Yelp review is 40. You're 40% more likely to
Well, then
die
what-
with him.
why would-
So
why
it
would-
doesn't
what-
seem like that incentive's working because
if he- if
they
he
all
has a
seem to
Yelp
have this.
review-
They all seem to have this
Sir,
same
he would not
incentive.
be a doctor.
They
He
all
would
seem
not
to
be a
have.
doctor.
They all seem to have this same incentive, and yet their outcomes are worse.
Do you think he would be sued? Do you think he'd still be a doctor?
Yes, because obviously these people are still doctors.
I haven't met any that have that rate
What rate?
of the mortality rates that you're saying.
This isn't a
I haven't
mortality
met
rate.
any.
This is the likelihood that you die. It's 40% higher if you go to a private hospital.
Yeah, I've never 40%. Like,
I just gave you the source for it. It was a JAMA study. It was a 3-year study.
well, I would choose the private one because they would have a larger incentive to complete the surgery.
What's their
successfully
incentive?
Not get sued.
But they already have that
Malpractice
incentive. They already have that incentive, and their outcomes are worse.
Well, then
How come the
at least
incentive
I would
hasn't
get
worked up until this point?
I would get a lot. I mean, at least you would win a lawsuit. I suppose you can't sue the doctors on the other end.
You can't sue the government? Can't sue the VA?
Can you?
So yeah, the doctors at the VA have to carry insurance. Brother, this is bad. Like, this is really bad. You're just trying not to be wrong here. Like, you got to admit at this point that you are just making shit up to go private. This is like bootlicking for capitalism. This is sad.
I don't think. I think where's the incentive lie for the doctors to complete successful surgeries in the VA?
My friend, doctors are paid for the procedures that they do. Not everybody is incentivized by profit. In fact, most people aren't. The doctors don't even share. The doctors at these private. The doctors at these private hospitals don't own the fucking hospitals. They are employees. It is capitalists who own these hospitals. My uncle owns like 15 of them. It's gross. He makes money. He's the one getting the return. He pays the doctors for the work they do. They're already not incentivized at these hospitals. The incentive for all of these hospitals is to make as much money as they possibly can. And if they have if the rate of which people survive is lower and they're not losing money, then they don't fucking care, which is what we're obviously seeing. They don't fucking care.
So then if you take the profit out of it, where does the incentive lie?
Well, where does the incentive lie for the VA when the profit is taken out of it and the VA has better outcomes?
Tell me, where's the incentive?
The incentive apparently is keeping people alive.
I wish I can agree.
Well, it's weird that you can't, because the one that doesn't have a profit motive has better outcomes, and the one with profit motives has worse outcomes.
According to the cherry-picked study that you have from
the
the
JAMA
VA
study,
website.
a 3-year study with 4.6 million data points,
I don't know. You picked a study that I
okay. Well, you
read,
picked
man.
no
I don't
studies,
know.
but again, let's just assume for
Because
argument's sake, let's just assume. Listen, brother, we don't know each other. We don't know each other. This isn't going to follow you around forever. If I'm wrong and you find out that I'm wrong later on, fine. But we're dealing with the data that's in front of us right now, and this is the problem with our fucking country: is that we can't ever goddamn agree on anything because we're ideologically divided. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. There might be 15 other studies that back up what you're saying. But you got blown. But excuse me. But you got blown the fuck out, and you won't admit it because you are too arrogant to admit it. And this is why we can't have nice things. I have debated no less than 1,000 people on healthcare. Not one single time has anybody made a compelling argument that private healthcare is better than single-payer healthcare. And yet, those same people that lose every time go out with the same talking points. And this is why our healthcare sucks, because we're ideologically captured. You are ideologically captured to believe capitalism great, socialism bad, government bad, private business good. And that's been this entire argument this whole time. Is you just have an ideological idea that private is always better than public, and I don't have that.
I didn't say always. I said in most times it is.
I agree with you if it's things that we want and not things that we need. But when it's things that we need, the private sector takes advantage of that. They overcharge and underdeliver because they can. But if it was a product that you and I liked, like if it was these headphones, they can't keep giving me a shitty headphone. They're like, they couldn't provide these AirPods, and somebody makes AirPods exactly the same, but this one explodes in my ear 40% more. This company would be out of business. But you're now arguing for the company that explodes 40% more because of an ideological idea that private equals better.
Maybe I'm wrong in this case. It's possible. I'm not an expert in healthcare. My primary lane is economics, so maybe.
Well, if your primary lane is economics, then you understand supply and demand, right?
I do.
Okay, so the demand for healthcare, is that ever going to go away?
No.
Okay. And supply and demand dictates like your willingness to pay for something, right? So same thing if we go back to these headphones, I might pay $200 for them, but I'm not going to pay $20,000, right?
Would you?
Would you pay $20,000 for these headphones with the money you have right now? They're just AirPods. You can't see them. Okay, you wouldn't, right? No, right? What would you pay to?
Someone might.
Do you have a? Is your mom still with us?
Oh, like living?
Yeah.
Yes, thankfully.
How much would you pay to keep your mom alive? Would you pay $10,000?
Infinite.
Infinite.
Sure.
Oh, Infinite's right. I appreciate that. Don't you think the private health insurance companies know that?
I think they do. And
So
I
what's
think
their
they take
incentive?
advantage of it. Profit.
Profit. So why don't we take that profit? So what would happen if they didn't have that profit motive?
They would become less efficient.
No, less expensive.
I mean, that's to be determined, I suppose.
Well, could you explain why every country, like we're the only ones that we're the only country in the world that does private health insurance as like our primary health insurance, and we are more than double the cost of every other country. And we have worse outcomes. We're ranked like 27th in outcomes. Our infant mortality is lower. Again, our maternal mortality is lower. Our life expectancy is going down. We're double the price of everybody else, and we don't get better outcomes. Why? Because we'll pay whatever, right? We'll pay whatever we can to keep people alive.
Well, do you think that's universal? Do you think everyone would pay infinite to keep their family alive?
Yes, which is why you have to take the profit motive out of it. I meant higher. Am I saying lower? Sorry. Yeah, our mortality rate is higher. Sorry, I guess I was saying lower.
So then, how do you keep the incentive to work at an efficient rate?
Because the doctors are not incentivized by profit. They already don't share in the profit. The people sharing in the profit are the executives, the investors.
You don't think at private companies that surgeons?
I don't think private health. Well, we're talking about health insurance, right?
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't think private health insurance should exist.
So you think it would be only government-funded insurance?
Correct.
Now,
why not?
I just worry.
Doesn't that give you more power? Doesn't that allow us to collectively bargain? Because now we've got 350 million customers on the same insurance company. Doesn't that give us more leverage then to go to big pharma and say lower the prices? Doesn't that give us more leverage to go to these food companies and say there's 350 million of us, like we'll sue you? Doesn't that give us all the leverage in the world to try and bring prices down and make it more affordable?
I think my worry there is we're in that frame. I think we're assuming that the government would look out for us, and you keep the hope alive that they would,
but they do. They look out for us better in the VA and Medicare than private health insurance. So yes, it's true. Like you can nitpick the government, and we can say I don't trust the government, but the government has been more responsible with health insurance than the private sector. Can they be better? Certainly, but are they better? Are they more accountable to us? Yeah. There's no accountability for the private sector. What do you do if you have a complaint with your insurance? You call and you get put on hold for fucking ever. It doesn't matter who you vote for.
Do you think that those claims would be processed at the same rate, or do you think it would be slower?
I think they'd be far quicker.
Why do you think that?
Because it's a streamlined approach. Every doctor's office would suddenly have far less red tape because you're seeking reimbursement consistently from the federal government from the same place every single time. The laws are written in the books. They're easy to understand. You don't have to deal with each health insurance company having different rules and what they do and don't cover. It would be significantly easier, which is why I think 2 to 3% of the budget for Medicare is administrative costs, where with these private insurance companies, it's like 20%.
Do you think there's a risk that the government would also know? So do you think there would be a shift, right? So remember earlier, you're like, I would spend, and most people probably would spend like infinite amount of money to save their family.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, now you stated that the private companies know this and they take advantage of this. Do you think that would shift to the government now that?
How?
If we were to, well, they would know that we would be still willing to pay that money, right? And they would still use it.
But if they raise prices on us, we're going to be pissed at them and vote them out. And
do you think that would change it? Do you think that?
Well, why would they raise prices? What would be their incentive to raise prices?
They could frame it in any moral aspect. It would probably.
What would their incentive be? Like, why would they want to raise prices?
To extract money from the middle class.
For what?
They're 38 trillion in debt. I mean, they're not going to want less money every year. The budget would go up every year, right?
Sure, but
the budget.
Sure. So then it would be because it's more expensive, right?
Well, is it? I don't know. Is it more expensive because of inflation?
Well, our country is designed to have 2 to 3% inflation like every year. So yes, the cost should go up every year. just based on how we structured our economy. Yeah.
So that burden lies on the taxpayer, right?
Yeah.
That inflation burden. So you don't think there's a risk in the, because earlier we said that the infinite money, the private side knows this. You don't think there's a risk, government side?
Yeah, but the risk is much lower than private insurance, because with private insurance, they can raise the cost as much as they want. And if you decide that you can't afford it anymore, you just don't have health insurance.
Do you think that there would be more or less money for research and development?
There's zero money for health insurance companies going to research and development. They're not developing anything. They write a check to your doctor.
But I'm saying generally in the pool of healthcare economics, do you think there would be more?
This wouldn't be part of the pool. I advocate for single payer health insurance. I'm not talking about overhauling our
Where does the money
I'm not
go from the insurance pays someone, right?
The doctors,
that goes to the right.
surgeons.
And do you think that And do you think that they would implement any type of research and development or technological development with that profit?
Doctors and surgeons aren't the ones doing that. Those are researchers.
The hospital as a whole.
Yeah, that would be on the R&D side. It has nothing to do with health insurance.
But the payment goes to the hospital, and part of the budget is for research and development. Not part of it.
No,
goes
hospitals
to the
don't do research and development. What do you? No, they don't do that.
Okay.
They don't.
What about the Mayo Clinic?
Yeah, that's through their research arm. That's mostly funded through federal grants. That would continue.
Mostly, right?
Well, I don't know I don't know what their percentage is, but they get a bunch of grants from the government. They also get private money. But yeah.
But you don't fear any type of fallback?
No. Why do you think we're the only country that does it this way? If it works so well, why isn't there a single other country trying to do it our way?
I don't know enough about other countries' healthcare. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about other countries' healthcare.
It's because
systems.
it's double the price and we don't have good outcomes. That's why.
And you think those no good outcomes are derived because the mindset is for profit?
No, I think it's because my dad, he had stage 4 cancer. He'll pass away eventually from cancer. But when he first got treatment,
sorry to hear that.
I appreciate that. My mother was a public school teacher. She has great insurance. It took the doctor said when they diagnosed him, they said you need to be in start chemo tomorrow, and it took 5 weeks. It took 5 weeks because they were negotiating with the insurance company, trying to determine what they wouldn't cover. And you have to deal with that. And why is the insurance company negotiating? Because they have a profit motive, and they say this is how much we're willing to pay. They literally will nickel and dime you about everything. They're trying to cut some off the top on every single transaction, and it does. Then it causes doctors to charge more so they can get what they want, and it's this self-sustaining prophecy where it's just going to continue to get more expensive. Profit should not exist in health insurance. It's just got to be gone. It's the flaw in the system. I'm not saying that we should socialize every fucking thing in this country and every industry, but there are some industries that socializing makes a great deal of sense, and it would be better for everybody. We would all be far better off if we had single-payer healthcare. And the only reason we don't is because of this fake war we've been running for 100 years of socialism versus capitalism. We're not even a capitalist country. We have a mixed economy, and so does every other country. It's a fake war that we're fighting. So we should just do single-payer healthcare.
So do you think it would be a better system to implement both frames of mind? And do you think these, you in the socialist mindset, you think healthcare would be one service, right? Do you think there's any other services as well? Or do you think just healthcare?
The government should socialize?
Yeah,
well, I think if we invest in I think if we're giving out subsidies to someone like Elon Musk, we should get shares, and maybe they're not voting shares, but I think we should get a return on that. Yeah, I think all of our money should why is capitalist money treated so differently than taxpayer money? We our debt would be lower.
Because I think because they have to put the risk. You know what I mean? They put
we do too, but our money's the risk too. How many Solar City? We pumped hundreds of millions of dollars into Solar City, which was Elon's solar company, and it went belly up. We didn't get shit for that, and it doesn't exist anymore. We took a risk too. If we're investing in these companies, then the taxpayer's taking the same risk as the capitalist. Why does the capitalist get to play by different rules? Why would you not advocate for yourself?
Well, then where would you shift those subsidies to from private businesses? For example,
I would do it like China's system. If you're getting government subsidy, then the government gets half of it. China's system is way better than ours. And the only reason we demonize it all the time in the name of communism, but it just makes sense. There's like,
I don't get that too, because I think it's.
Let me give an example with DeepSeek. You know about DeepSeek, the Chinese AI?
Yeah, I've
costs
built,
like
yeah.
Why do you think it only costs them, like, depending, you maybe don't believe the numbers, but somewhere between 5 and 20 million? Why do you think DeepSeek costs between 5 and 20 million? And we have ChatGPT and Anthropic. They're in like the trillions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. Why do you think it's more expensive here than it is there?
To build a model like that, why would it be more expensive?
Mhm.
I mean, the obvious reason, the one that you're alluding to, is the profit incentive, right?
It's the profit. Is it partially the profit incentive? Yes.
But at the same time, and you even mentioned, like, if you believe the numbers, it would be nice to believe the numbers and be able to make like a one.
Well, you can't believe the numbers from our AI people either,
anywhere,
though, right? So we have to go with what we're going on.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. But it's
why do you think theirs is so much cheaper?
Probably.
Probably because in America, when you look at Anthropic, when you look at OpenAI, and you look at their investors, you'll see patterns. You'll see that a lot of these investors were initial investors in PayPal, and they inflated PayPal didn't make money for a very long time, but their shares were worth hundreds of billions of dollars. And then they started buying companies with those hundreds of billions of dollars in shares as collateral. And then they are incentivized to do what? Keep their share price high. And so you look at
now, how did the valuation of PayPal balloon to that much initially?
Investment and hype.
From who? From who?
A lot of the Silicon Valley investors, Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen. I think Bill Gates was in there early. I guess they were the founders. But a lot of private equity money.
Do you think there was any like individual level investors that also took part in that?
For sure.
Do you think those individual investors would continue? Now, I know it's a small portion, but they wouldn't have that freedom to choose anymore.
Choose what?
So they're free to invest in things based on whatever, like, hype valuation. And maybe like a small portion of the populace invested well and they did well. But that's an individual freedom. Like, they were able to choose to do that.
Yeah, but I'm not advocating taking that away. You can still do that. I'm asking. Remember, the question is why is DeepSeek so much cheaper?
No one will be able to do that with DeepSeek.
Okay, can I just give you the answer? The answer is that these guys have been building companies and artificially inflating their values without profits that back up their values for like 3 decades now, and now that is built into the cost of everything. It's why SpaceX was valued at $1 trillion when 60% of the revenue that they're basing that on is future revenue based on technologies that literally don't exist. And the reason that that valuation needed to be so high is you take Peter Thiel, for example, who invested in X. And what's happened to his investment in X? He's lost half of his money. He invested in Solar City. What happened to that? It went belly up. He invested in Tesla. What have they had to do with Tesla? They couldn't pull those earnings out because they needed to keep that stock price high so they can invest in other companies. And it's been like 3 decades of these guys just investing using stock over and over and over again, to the point now where things are so incredibly overvalued that we have massive inflation. SpaceX isn't worth anywhere near $1 trillion. Tesla's are not worth 10x what GM is. The only reason those prices are high is because people keep investing their money, but it's a lot of these people that already have the money and they just circularly invest it, and these values are completely made up. And that's why China's DeepSeek didn't cost $1 billion. It didn't cost $100 billion. It cost like 20 million, because there's not all these investors that have to get a return on their investment and their previous investments who are driving up the cost here.
What do you think would happen to DeepSeek if it went public?
What do I think would happen to DeepSeek if it went public?
Do you think their valuation
in America?
would balloon? No, yeah, on the U.S. stock exchange.
No, it wouldn't blow up like theirs because the Chinese government, I don't know what their share is, has 50% of the revenue sharing, so the revenue wouldn't be as high. But I appreciate that China's stock market operates. Like anything you dump into our stock market right now will be overvalued almost immediately because everything is overvalued. We want
who would be investing in that? Regular people? Or
potentially,
fine,
but again, it's a corrupt system. So I'm advocating that we get rid of the
Sure.
corrupt system. We need to end that corrupt system.
And then I have another question. How would you value SpaceX based on revenue?
Yeah. So normally, even with like tech companies, I think at Facebook, when they did their IPO, they wanted like, it was like 10x revenue, which is high. Like to
Yes.
project that you're going to make 10x that revenue, which I don't think they hit in time, is silly. SpaceX is never going to get anywhere near close to the revenue of being $1 trillion company. Never
Agreed.
close. Yeah, but they're valued that way so that people who
don't-
invested in the other companies can share their sales and sell their shares in those other companies and recoup their investment. It's
Do you
just a
think there
bunch
was
of rich people. And yeah, there's some people who invested early who are benefiting too, but the overwhelming majority of people in America are paying the price through inflation.
I have a question. Why didn't everyone invest then?
In
Or why
what?
did people choose not to invest in the SpaceX IPO? Say, for example, since we're on the subject.
Because it was overvalued and it's an obvious scam.
Well, overvalued on what metric? Based on
On the metric of revenue, on the metric of revenue versus like that's how you value a company. The value of a company
now
should be based on revenue, right?
Should
Not
be. I agree,
fairy
it
tales.
Should be.
Okay.
But it did go up almost 50% post IPO. And you know, the regular everyday investor.
Yeah, that's all. But that's speculation. That's not a good argument for you.
As all investment is.
It shouldn't be. We're trying to fix the system, and it shouldn't
But how
be.
can it not be? You can't know the future. You can make a great
no,
guess
but you can.
based
But these guys went in and they manipulated markets, and they said this is the
They did.
valuation that we're going to have to get. It wasn't
what's
a
crazy,
fair
too, is
valuation. It was completely manipulated. They forced people's 401ks to invest in this shit. It was gross. It was one of the most like blatant robberies I've ever seen in my life. It was
did
just
you see
stealing from the middle class. And yes, some
you see
middle class
this-
people might do okay, but the overwhelming majority of like we're all suffering for that valuation.
Did you see the share allocation that they allotted? I think that's where the manipulation was lying. Because they only allotted roughly 5% of their shares to the public.
Yeah, so the public
And
paid
then-
off their debt. They cashed that out. They stole from the middle class. They rigged an entire system to run a pump and dump scheme, and it's the system that you're still advocating for.
But at the same time, there is people that benefited there.
Yes,
You know,
a small
there's-
minority, people benefit from fraud all the time. That's like saying we shouldn't get rid of fraud because some people benefit from fraud. That's the argument
if
you're
you're
making.
gonna-
This is fraud, and some people benefited from it. You're making the argument that if some people benefit from fraud, we shouldn't change it. All again, just to like
I'm
hold
not
on
the
to this
SEC.
ideology.
I'm not determining what is fraud and what is not. I'm not determining
Clearly.
that. Is that it potentially is? I don't know.
It 100%
can't-
is.
I can't value something that's non-replicable. Is it a ridiculous valuation? Absolutely. But I can't personally even begin to imagine how to value that company.
Well, you can Google it. Is it a fucking?
No, you
No,
can't.
you can get. Yes,
assume.
you can. You
assume.
can literally get
assume.
how they valued it. You literally can see how they
I
valued
get
it.
how they valued it, right? And I get how other people value. But how do you value something that hasn't shown its value
Revenue.
proposition?
Revenue. You take the revenue and you determine the multiplier of that revenue. And I would argue 10x is too high, but we just make that shit up. We're just like, fuck it, let's do 100x revenue. That's what they did with Tesla. And they're like, where are you going to get this revenue? He's like, I'm actually going to intercept meteors and mine them for precious metals. And in our country, we're like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that totally makes sense that Elon is going to intercept meteors and mine them. Okay. Fucking crazy. Our entire economy is a carnival game. It's a joke. It's about to come collapsing down. And that's why we do this shows. We want people to understand what's happening to you, what's happening to this country right in front of your eyes. And the way that they keep you on their side is they keep telling you capitalism good, socialism bad. And you're here like it's been an hour. And it's crazy.
I've enjoyed the conversation.
Me
I'm not gonna
too.
lie.
But like, let the capitalism shit go. Be open to socialism and capitalism, and just look at the data. In some places, capitalism might work better.
Yeah,
In
I
some
didn't-
places, socialism will. We got to start looking at the world that way.
I think I'm grossly, after this, I think I'm grossly undereducated in healthcare. That is not my strong suit. So I appreciate your points, and I appreciate the thought process. And I'm not disagreeing, and I'm not disagreeing across the board, but as someone who's seen, like, look at, look, I get that a large portion doesn't get to participate, but the option is there to participate, at least at the minimum.
Or there's another option where we unrig the game.
Then it would ultimately become re-rigged.
And then when people try and rig it, you fight back. Yeah, there's always going to be people trying to rig it. That's not a good argument to say, like, let's just let it stay rigged. Yes, in the entirety, for the rest of human existence, there will be people who try and rig things in their favor. That's how it works.
Okay,
And so there,
let's
you can
say-
either fight for it, fight with it, or against it. I'm choosing to fight against it because it's obviously to a point now where 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and then there's other people who literally don't work and make hundreds of billions of dollars. That's dumb.
So for Anthropic's IPO coming up, another
Let's do just this
ridiculous-
one, and then I got to go. But I'll answer this one.
Gotcha. So Anthropic's IPO is coming up, right? Ridiculous valuation, same as SpaceX.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do to?
I would short
like,
Anthropic. That's what I would do.
Well, depending on the share allocation, but
I'm going to short them either way.
you think so? Right off open?
Yes, dude. They all have debt. They're just trying to get the public to pay off their debt. That's all this is.
Can you short right on IPO? I think I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can. There's
Anyway.
mechanisms you can do to short it. Yes.
I saw the leverage ETFs for SpaceX, but anyway, so Anthropic's coming.
Yeah. So you know about
another
leveraged
big
ETFs,
value-
then? Yeah, you can do that.
So
Same as shorting it.
But yeah. But so how would you? So Anthropic wants to come IPO, right? Their valuation's ridiculous. How would you implement this non-rigged method that what they can enter the open market for people to invest?
I would take, if I was able to do it, I would say I would take their $47 billion revenue run rate, and I would assess it a sensible valuation. It'd be nowhere near, what do they want? 965 billion? Is that what it is?
Yeah, something. I think it's something like that.
Yeah, I would.
Closer to nine.
Yeah, I would need an act. I wouldn't allow any of their future revenue to depend on a technology that doesn't exist. I haven't looked at it yet. I can't give you details, but I'll look. I'm gonna guess there's a bunch of technology and projections of things that don't exist.
There is. Yeah, there is. But then say it hits the open market and a lot of smaller investors invest, right? And it runs the price up. That's not something that people can control.
It runs the price up?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like if investors pile in and speculate and the sharks are going to swim, I get it, and everyone's piling in. How do you stop that valuation from just going up? How do you stop it?
You stop billionaires from being able to take the stock that they own. So you have to restructure the entire thing. And it has to go backwards. Like, I understand the question, like, how do you stop that specific instance? You don't. You have to, like, that's going to happen. That's the laws that we have right now. We have to go back and rewrite our laws, and we have to change the way that we fund things. We have to tax capital gains. It's insane that we don't tax capital gains. And I'm fine with, like, putting a minimum first. Like, let's say, you don't tax capital gains until over 200,000. I don't want to hit the middle class with that. But the reason these valuations are so high is because we didn't tax any of these capital gains. They've been able to take these gains that are allegedly on paper, use the collateral from those gains to get bank loans using none of their own cash. So they never get taxed on any of this. And Elon has basically become a billionaire using fake, or a trillionaire and billionaire, by using fake money. So I would change all of the rules and regulations when it comes to financing this way. And we have to heavily regulate our markets. I would ban or heavily tax speculative trading. I would ban cryptocurrency overnight.
Like the two times leveraged ETFs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. All that stuff. It's a big fucking casino. I would change so much.
All the sharks in the water.
Yeah. I would change a lot. But it would be massive regulation. And all those people would cry about how we're killing capitalism. And then once we regulated it, you would see a massive rise in like mom and pop shops, small and mid-sized businesses, because they weren't being swallowed up by these behemoth monopolies who write all the laws for us. I would like to see the middle class expand, and so we have to put the brakes on all of these massive corporations, and we should break them up. Amazon should be broken up. It should be owned by the people of Amazon. Walmart should be broken up. Google should be broken up. Microsoft should be broken up. Apple should be broken up. All of these companies should be broken up, and then we should give really, really strong workers' rights to everybody so they can collectively bargain for their own labor and then return that money back to the middle class. And all of these rich people, these billionaires and almost trillionaires, they'll all still be billionaires or multi-millionaires, and they'll be fine. The world won't come crashing down, but the American people will be better off for it.
Quite possibly, my friend.
All right. Well, I appreciate the talk, man. I'm going to get going. Come back anytime.
All right, bro.
All right, Clive.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
see you.
Same.
All right, I got a bunch to read here. Sorry, I did not keep my promise. This is sweet. This is Mariana sent this. It's wholewashingtonstate.org. Oh, let's see. Do that? Oh, whole Washington, not state. What the hell? Sorry, I actually want to look this up. Share the screen here. Said this is state-based single payer. You sign up and join that. I'll have to check that out. Comprehensive coverage, all residents eligible, free at the point of service, 100% publicly funded. I want to look at the funding mechanism there. I'm going to dig into that. Thank you for that. Wasn't me said, did Elon give the guest sparkles for his collar? Brittany said another Elon cuck. I don't know why people like Elon so much. Lack of critical thinking is frustrating. It is. It is like I keep saying this over and over, but that's what conservatism is. Like, don't ask questions. Don't ask any questions. Don't deep dive on any of this capitalism stuff or trickle down economics. Because if you do, you're gonna find out real quick it was a scam the whole time. I got that one from Nasri. I appreciate that. Is any there? D. Freezy said, don't think Guest is necessarily a bad guy, but this is probably the best example of how strong the capitalist propaganda machine has been over the last 50-ish years. Yes, that was a perfect example of that. I have these same conversations with my two closest friends, like trying to get them to just like not be afraid of socialism long enough to talk about the numbers is like pulling teeth. Axe said, sorry, bud. Thanks for taking the call. Caller full of BS, though. I don't know enough about the VA, but it didn't seem right to me. He just said he went to the VA on base. That's not the VA. Active duty military doesn't use the VA for healthcare. Thank you. Amy said, beside giving Starlink money, the largest purchaser of their service is the military. So we gave them money, then also pay for their services. Yeah, that was kind of the point, right? Like our return on investment is not that we get to pay more subscriptions to them. Amy said, China has higher middle class than the United States and growing. Hey, said for being a great teacher. Thank you. 70% of those on welfare programs work full time. We're supporting those business profits while cutting their taxes. Thank you, Amy. I learned that number from you, by the way. And I got that from Phoenix. Jen, did I miss any others? Let me look up here. I probably did. Oh shit. I didn't have Jen's chat up. I'm so sorry. Pink said for the Antifa dudes. Jen is sorry, Jen. I didn't see any of your messages. Wasn't me who said, please give this to Jen, who I'm picturing sharing my primal scream as this nutsack who's dying on the hill of the anecdote. Sam, thank you. Samantha said, please make it stop and call Clive a cum done. I'm trying to be nicer. Lee said, good work. Thank you. Tanya said, all I ever hear is fear, fear, fear from MAGA. This is why nothing changes. That's the point. It's trying to get over and over. Like, you just got to swallow your pride. And I appreciate what the Democratic Socialists are doing. I'm going to go late for you guys today, too, so don't worry about that. Amber said, hubby has worked for wastewater for almost 30 years. The plants that are ran by companies get 20-year contracts to run. They do less maintenance and then move to another city. The city-ran ones do better. I was unaware of that. Yeah, that's a win. I did say come done, so that works. All right, let's get back to the outline here. I'm going to skip out of West Virginia because I just wanted to do, I'll probably go like another 30 or 45 minutes. I'll update the gift goal in a minute, and then if you guys want to help us knock out the rest of that, that would be great. This was AOC's response to the centrists telling her to leave the party. This is getting old. This feels MAGA-y. Isn't it annoying that and I guess it's telling that these moderate Democrats now sound exactly like the MAGA chat when we offer a solution that they don't have an answer for. Like they don't have a better solution. So they're like, why don't you just leave?
Here, the corporate Democrats tell you to get out of the party. What say you? Because you're a Democrat.
You can't tell them to get
Shit. No, big W for Nomad for the $100 over on Cash App. Said, hopefully this will finish off the gift goal. It might. And Becca said, for Clive, the headache. I also wanted to say, sorry, before this goes, there were two other people that sent $50, and a special shout out for Lee and Samantha for the $50 on Venmo. So W, Lee, and Samantha as well.
out. And then in a presidential cycle, tell them that they have an obligation to vote for you. We're either a team or we're not. And at the end of the day, we all need each other, to our chagrin and to our disagreement. And to our, great inconvenience, all of us have to accept the reality that we need each other, whether we like it or not. And you can't tell people to leave when you need them. At the end of the day, and guess what? Look at the point that we're at right now. Hopefully in November, we're going to be winning. Democrats are going to be winning a majority that is healthy and sizable. But if you look at this present moment, the House majority, both last cycle and this cycle, was a difference of 4 to 5 seats. Okay? There are now going to be 4 to 5 Democratic Socialists serving in the next term. So if you tell us to go, that we can't associate with the Democratic Party, all of a sudden, that's your majority right there. Mm-hmm. So whether we like it or not, we need one another. We shouldn't be talking about going our separate ways.
This is the other frustrating part, too, is that the Democratic Socialist, part of all of their platforms is that we should get rid of the two-party system, which is 100% of Americans agree. Only people that make money off the two-party system don't agree with that. Democratic Socialists want to do ranked choice voting. I'm all on board with that. I'm all on board on getting all money out of politics. These are massive wins if they continue to run on this. What you're seeing is the Chuck Schumers of the world and the Democratic establishment showing their true colors of what they've been accused of for so long, is that they think that they know better than everybody. That they don't need to listen to everybody else. They actually know, and you vote for them to solve the problems, but they're the problem solvers. And so you gotta listen to what they have to say. And now they're telling you, don't vote for Democratic Socialists. DEI versus DSA is going to be very, very interesting. Yeah, I think the DEI thing is done. I don't even see Republicans running on that anymore.
Because we can't survive without a majority, and that goes in both directions. We're going to have to figure it out. Frankly, that I think is the first piece of it. And secondly, I think. When I first arrived to the House, it was, I was met with a tremendously hostile environment. And
thank you, Laura and Johnny, for being the top 2 gifters over on TikTok as well.
And it was obviously very clear that we were not welcome there. And they wanted to make us all, they want to make me a one-term congresswoman. They wanted to make many others, I think, a one-term congresswoman, whether that's Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, or whomever. But I think that, the attitude that I have taken to this over time is that on our end, when this hostility comes towards us, we can respond with hostility in kind. We can respond with defensiveness. But I think what I have...
And that's probably what most of us want, right? It's good to see AOC just being the adult here.
Learned over time is that I just have...
Y'all want the government to have more money and power. They have that. Giving the government more taxpayer money just allows them to pay their bills. This is one of those Republican takes that is so stupid. The government has more power right now than they did when Donald Trump took office. Far more. And you just don't recognize it because they're not collecting more taxes. They've literally handed over the keys to our entire system to Palantir. They watch everything that you're doing. They just now they're saying, "Oh, we gotta keep the FISA warrant process open. And by the way, it needs to have virtually no guardrails. Giving the government more money is not a problem. This is let's just get this conservative argument out of the way forever. When Democrats raise taxes, they also raise spending. When Republicans cut taxes, they also raise spending. So both groups raise spending every time. It's what they do. Only one of them brings in more receipts by percentage. That's why deficit spending goes down under Democrat presidents and up under Republican presidents. This isn't a real argument. It's just your way of disengaging from the argument and saying, oh, the government will always spend. Cool. So let's make sure that they spend the money on things that we want them to spend money on. Oh, we can't change anything. Well, you guys can't. The Republicans can't change anything because no matter how many times they run on fiscal responsibility and paying down the debt and having a thriving middle class, all they ever do is fuck all that stuff up. But they keep coming back and telling you that they're going to do it. So you don't really have a choice if you want to keep voting Republican. You are just left with the argument, I don't trust the government, so I vote for Republicans, which is doesn't make any sense because you're just getting worse outcomes from the government that you don't trust. I'll take the worst outcomes and then I'll say I don't trust them rather than slightly better outcomes and not trusting them. None of us trust the government, but we can advocate that they do better things.
Responded with, okay, watch us work.
It's what they do with it. They lie. Do they? We literally, like, I don't, these are all just silly. This is just outside of the military. We basically know what the government does with their money. Like, we have budgets, we audit. We basically know what our government is doing with the money, except for the military budget. And that's what they lie about the most.
Watch us work. And we'll go from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 12, and people can go crying and you know, be upset, but we'll just keep growing. And
they are. The Democratic Socialists are still going. Big W for Jacob said, love hearing you debate healthcare. Thank you. And Jennifer for the $20 over on Venmo said, way behind on my Antifa fees. Thank you. It is almost the end of the month, so make sure we get our Antifa fees in before the end of the month. I want to go here. Let's see. I just thought it was good. I guess good response here by Ta-Nehisi. I think it's Ta-Nehisi Coates. I think that's how you say his name. Sorry if I'm butchering that. I think it's Ta-Nehisi. This was brilliant. He was on with MS Now. James Carville, who is somehow still alive and somehow still a fucking douchebag, is he thinks that he has all the answers and the Democratic Socialists are the problem. And I think it's just showing that, like, when you look at the establishment Democrats, like racism, specifically like structural racism, and even just the way that these corporate Democrats look at black and brown people is as less than. And I think there's a lot of Democrats exposing themselves right now as, like, you pretend you have progressive values, but when push comes to shove and we're talking about real change, suddenly the progressive values are gone and you just need to listen to them. Let's keep the status quo.
Foreign policy towards Israel. Let me play for you what Democratic strategist James Carville had to say and get your thoughts to it about the candidates here in New York City. Take a listen.
I don't think that the congressional Democrats should seat her as a member of the Democratic Party. You can't kick her out of Congress. She was voted, but she doesn't have to be in the Democratic caucus. I don't have anything in common with Ms. Chevalier, and I really don't want to be in the same party she's in.
Yeah, well, nobody gives a fuck what you say anymore, by the way, Carville. Amy said California leaders passed a balanced $351.7 billion spending plan for the 2026-27 fiscal year, delivering a $0 deficit. Nah, not California. They'd ruin everything, right?
Your reaction to that, Ta-Nehisi?
Wow. You do this to me every time I come on an interview. Say something that leaves me completely speechless. Because look, the problem with that is, like, look, whatever you think of future Congresswoman Chevalier, she represents actual voters. Okay, she represents actual voters.
And again, by the way, her comments are basically about abolishing ICE and abolishing the police, which were, admittedly, I think sometimes a lot of people made comments about abolishing the police and abolishing ICE without, like, a real plan. And nobody ever really, a real plan never really materialized. So it does kind of look like people just think you don't like police. Maybe she didn't follow up. She's abandoned those principles, at least for her campaign now. It's a fair criticism to say in the past you were much more strong on abolishing the police and abolishing ICE, and it seems like you've softened that. That's a fair criticism. It's also fair to look at the people that you're running to represent, and if your views don't exactly match theirs, and if it's a minority view, you abandon that. That's what representative government is for. I don't think we should always have to vote on like what somebody's personal views are. If their platform doesn't include their personal views, that's fine. I vote for religious people all the time. I'm not religious. Not all their personal views matter to me.
And what James Carville is saying is that those voters should be disenfranchised. That he is so disgusted with whatever opinion she has that those voters should be disenfranchised. And I don't get it, man.
I love this. We'll see how long they love the mayor of New York when all the billionaires leave. Yeah, everybody's going to be so sad. What happened to the billionaires? Come back. Please come back, billionaires. What will we do without you?
That is a district filled with black and brown people. They made their choice. And he just doesn't respect it. You know what I mean? Which to me says, not so much, it's not so much a statement on Palestinians. It's not so much a statement on Israelis. It's not so much a statement.
Yeah, it's just that what James Carville's just saying is that he's smart. And these black and brown voters that voted for her are not smart. But because he has so much wisdom. And so he wants them to know that their votes were wrong. And that she shouldn't be part of the group here because those are dangerous ideas. Those registered Democrats that voted for her, James Carville wants them to know that they're too stupid to vote.
On anything that future Congresswoman Chevalier has said, it's a statement on how he feels about black and brown people, and the fact that they are useful to him when they vote the way that he agrees with. When they don't, kick them out the party. They don't deserve representation. I'm trying not to say. I'm trying to be polite. It's not good. It's not good, Eamon. It's not good.
It's not good. It's not good for democracy.
Billionaires are 40+% of the national tax revenue. Cool. Where are they going to go? We tax them if they try and take their money out, right? They can't take their business with them. Their business relies on our consumer base. I've never seen people misunderstand leverage more than MAGA. What if they leave? They can't. And if they do leave, they can't take their shit with them. You won't have anybody to call for help. Oh, for sure. Billionaires, yeah. We won't have anybody. Let's just try it. Let's just tell the billionaires they can leave. Where are they going to go? Cap earnings? I just think, I think in a progressive tax policy, you're at some point you're going to be paying 90% on your income. Yeah. What's wrong with that? If billionaires were 100 millionaires, then the people that worked for them would have more money, and the money would be more evenly distributed. That's the role of our government, is to make sure that if they're going to create a currency that's made for our economy to flow and made for wealth to be more equally distributed, perhaps they should make sure that the wealth is more equally distributed. Right? We didn't make a government for nothing. We didn't choose a monetary system where we had hard currency for nothing, right? We don't have, it's not a property of the United States Treasury for nothing, right? It's supposed to work. So when it doesn't work, we have to change things. No, we don't fix things when we don't work. Let's just run them into the ground. Republicans have now chosen to run our country like a car that hasn't got an oil change in 12,000 miles. There's not even oil in there anymore. And they're like, yeah, but I don't trust the people who do oil changes, so I'm just going to keep driving this car with no oil. Let's just drive it into the ground. Shane said, a reindeer, we have the most leanest tax laws. They won't leave even if we... A reindeer? I don't know what that means. They won't leave even if we increase their taxes. Yeah, they're not going anywhere. Stop letting billionaires tell you that they're going somewhere.
Yeah. Let me, if I can, maybe close out by asking you to kind of give us a gut check whether this is more than just a vibe check, right? I think there would be some critics who will say, and correct me if I'm wrong here, not that the central thesis of why Kamala Harris lost the campaign was because about Gaza, but Gaza was certainly a factor in the reason why she lost. What would you
how does Massachusetts have more millionaires and billionaires now than they did before they implemented their wealth tax? Hillary Clinton's emails. That's how.
Say to critics who say it was actually
what are the Democrats changing? Not a lot. What are the Democratic Socialists trying to change? A lot. That's why I'm aligning myself with the Democratic Socialists right now. But I agree with you. Who was that? That was Mark. Mark, I agree with you. The Democrats are largely feckless, spineless, good-for-nothing politicians. But some of them are trying, and I'm going to support the ones that are trying.
Inflation, it was about economics, it was about a lot of other things. Gaza was not something that pollsters came up with, pundits thought was an issue, and it might not be an issue going forward, that the party's fixation on this right now, as some Democrats are warning.
The Democratic Socialists like private property rights. I think there's varying degrees. Like generally speaking, yeah, socialists aren't going to be huge on private property. I'm not a Democratic Socialist. I'm not a socialist. I have no problem with private property. I do think that there should be limits, though. And I don't. I think we shouldn't be in a scenario where people can just buy up massive amounts of property and hoard that property. I don't like that at all. So I don't know. You'd have to ask a Democratic Socialist. I'm not one, but some of them are going to have varying degrees of support for private property. Ask the chat. Chat, if you're a Democratic Socialist, just thumbs up if you're for private property rights, or thumbs down if not. I mean, I guess that's pretty generic, but I don't think there's a ton that are just like, no more private property.
Is misguided.
Yeah, I can't really.
No socialism has ever turned into communism. No country has ever been communist, Amber. Just stop talking about history. Learn what communism is first. Just like it always turns into communism. It's turned into communism 0 times. 0 times ever. That's a good rate. 100% of the time, people who try socialism don't become communists. And Amber's like, every time. So you have the exact opposite of facts on your side, Amber. That's how we like our MAGA, though. Reality is the opposite, always.
Tell you that's why she lost. I don't have, that data. I don't have those sorts of numbers. But I mean, to me, look, I know the headline was what the headline was, but I was less interested in that than asking the question of whether, in fact, someone who would not have been in that place if it was not for the Black freedom struggle, and I think this is actually not just true of Kamala Harris anymore, but in true of the Democratic Party itself, that it owes its very...
Is UBI socialism? Jim, socialism is that the workers or the people own the rights of the means of production. It just means labor. There are different ways that socialism can manifest itself. You could have a socialist country without universal, like you could have a country operating entirely on the principles of socialism and not have universal basic income. Universal basic income is an idea and a policy that sometimes is put into place from taxpayer money to create like a floor. But you can have it or not have it.
Present existence to the Black freedom struggle. Is it actually honoring the core morality and principles of that struggle? And are we settling for an interpretation that says human rights, civil rights for certain people and screw everybody else? Or was this supposed to be about something bigger? Was it, did human actually mean human? And my argument is, in the words of Fannie Lou Hamer, in the words of Coretta Scott King, in the words of W.E.B. Du Bois, in the words of Martin Luther King, it was always supposed to be bigger. If this is just interest group politics, I mean, I don't know what that is. Then I don't have a place in that party, and I don't have a place in that coalition myself.
All right. I think, actually, that is the spot to stop. So I wanted to compare the Democratic Socialists, and then I wanted to compare the Republican argument, but the Republican argument's going to take like 2 hours. I have a ton of stuff. And so we may just, let's just do that tomorrow, because then it'll be, I don't want to get started on it and then cut it off halfway through. So we'll do that tomorrow morning. So when you show up tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the Republicans' plan for the midterms, and we'll compare that to the Democratic Socialists. And you'll see, like, spoiler, they don't have a plan. Spoiler, Democratic Socialists do. Spoiler, Democratic Party is planning on running on Trump bad. So you can either go for no plan, keep things the same with Republicans, and poor people and immigrants are bad. You can vote for Democrats where like everything will be fixed when we get rid of Trump, or you can look to the Democratic Socialists who actually have ideas and data and plans and legislation that they're going to try and pass. And that's why I find myself aligning with the Democratic Socialists right now. But what about Jesus? We'll ask him. I'm going to invite him. I reached out to his agent last night. We'll see if he'll come on the show tomorrow. We did make the goal act. Thank you very much. All right. Did I miss anything, Jen?
Yeah, Amy sent a Venmo. Said states with the most wealthy, California, Massachusetts, Washington, and New York. Fun fact, they're also the states that pay the most in federal government and take the least. States who take the most compared to what they pay: Alaska, Kentucky, and West Virginia.
Damn. Amber, name any socialist country that's successful. There's 0 socialist countries, Amber. Name one capitalist country that is successful. Any. There are 0 socialist or capitalist countries. Every country literally has a mixed economy. These are economic theories, and they are not perfect either. But there isn't a fully socialist or capitalist country. So this is why we can't do things with you, Amber. This is why we struggle with you, because you're asking questions that show that you're ideologically captured, but you don't understand any of this stuff. Like every country that has like socialized medicine or a single payer, they also have capitalism. It's just a thing that they use to scare you. Remember, like, because we'll ask the same question, like, what's a capitalist country? Name one. You guys are too pussy to take over the means of production. Jim, you're talking about humans. Jim wants you guys to know that people are too pussy to take over the means of production. Jim is going to rely on his overlords like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos to take over the means of production. He's a big fan of the Walton family. Jim, I think you might be the one that's too pussy to take over the means of production. You can't say that about the Democratic Socialists. They're literally trying to take over the means of production. And Jim's like, I won't let them do it. Elon has to have it. The billionaires have to have the means of production. I don't want any rights. I will fight you to the death to make sure that I don't get any rights. That's awesome, buddy. You're doing great stuff. Shane Wash said for your troubles. I appreciate that. Let me double check one more time and then we'll get out of here. The debate took a long time. It was nice to have a debate, and I thought Clive was nice. I know not everybody loved him, and I always love Republicans more than you guys. Got that. Okay, we will be back tomorrow morning and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, right here wherever you're watching on TikTok, YouTube, or Twitch. You can support us by becoming a paid member on any of those platforms. Memberships start at $5, and you can join us every other Wednesday for a movie night. We may be watching the U.S. men's national team play this Wednesday. Casey, what time is it at? I don't know. I guess I could probably look that up before Casey even gets to it. It's at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. We can plan on doing it. I don't know if I'll be able to stream it or not. If we do, I may just have to give Jen my login and she can stream it, or somebody else can stream it. But we can give somebody access to stream it. I will not be at home Wednesday night, and I don't know if the Wi-Fi will be good enough for me to set up my laptop and stream it that way. But if you can't join us then, that's fine. Discord's free, by the way. You can join that anytime. I'm on Cameo. We have merch in the bio. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. And if you can, like videos, share the videos, share it with your friends and your family. And until I see you tomorrow morning, reach down and grab those bootstraps and pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Then take those boots and put those boots on the ground. But before you go outside to touch grass, make sure that if you can't touch the grass, you can smoke the grass. Fill up a water bottle full of water and stay hydrated. Look in the mirror on your way out. Tell yourself something nice about yourself. Be kind to your friends and family. Try and make somebody's day. And until I see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.